Chapter 516. That's what you said just now, right? By the way, I forgot to tell you that in addition to being a darts player, I am also a very famous online streamer. Now I have nearly 3 million viewers in my live broadcast room. What you said just now has been recorded in my live broadcast room. You'd better not lie through your teeth, or I will make you the laughing stock of the world. Chen Guang looked at the three of them. With his influence on the Chinese internet, it might be an exaggeration to say that he was the laughingstock of the world, but he could make them famous in China for a while. Other than that, it was not impossible for China's trending news to affect the international community. This group of international friends was really scared. Yes, that's what I said just now. Papalika's face changed. He did not expect the little girl wearing a mask and holding a mobile phone to be doing a live broadcast. But I mean no harm. My pronunciation just now. Shut up. I also said the same thing to you too, right? Chen Guang looked at Helvete and Walken. The two of them looked at each other and nodded helplessly. Since you two have admitted to it, then let me translate what these three people just said. Chen Guang said with a smile. You said that this Asian monkey is a shameful liar. Honestly speaking, you're the one who's a person of color. Isn't it inappropriate for you to say such racist words? Chen Guang pointed at Helvete from Mauritius. You said that all Chinese people are shameful cheaters. You said that Chinese people like to use despicable means to achieve their goals. Am I right? I'm Papalika from the Fidos tribe in the Tennessee River region. Chen Guang said as he looked at Papalika. Walken from the province of Tarragona, Catalonia. You just greeted my family. Now, I will use the international language to return the favor. F***CK. Are you satisfied? Chen Guang said to Walken. How is this possible? The three of them were shocked. What the hell? It had only been less than a minute since they started scolding him. Where did he find a translator? Was he one of the viewers in the live broadcast? There was no reason for that. The three of us are speaking very unpopular languages that not many people would learn. Even in our own country, there are not many people who know them. How could it be so coincidentally in this guy's live broadcast room? Chen Guang felt proud of the three of them when he saw their dumbfounded expressions. To be honest, because of the three of you idiots, in order to teach you a lesson, in order to act so insignificant in front of you, I was actually sent to the Sea of Transient to live for more than 200 years. How honored should you be? This was probably the most expensive act of showing off in history. Now I'll give you one last chance to apologize. Little who, do you remember what I just said? Other than the last mother ***. Write down everything else. Make it into materials, and prepare to file a complaint. Just say that the foreign contestants criticized our domestic competition, and even insulted China's national champion in public after the competition. Write down the severity of the matter and send it to UNESCO. Chen Guang turned around and spoke to Xiao Hu in English. Everyone rolled their eyes. Do you still want to call the peacekeepers to sweep the area? You're even bringing up UNESCO. Sir, I'm sorry. Papalika was disgusted, but he was in the right, so he had no choice but to bow his head. Walken and Helvete looked at each other and apologized in unison. The 2 to 3 million viewers in the live broadcast room, who had seen the whole thing from beginning to end, were instantly overjoyed. A live broadcast of face-slapping foreigners had really succeeded. The other party had actually lowered his head and admitted his mistake. He was indeed Brother Almighty. After apologizing, Papalika and the other two thought that Chen Guang would generously forgive them. Unexpectedly, Chen Guang flipped his hair and said, All right, you can go. Before you go, I'll give you an ancient Chinese saying. Frogs at the bottom of a well don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You've never seen it, so you think it's impossible. You can't do it, so you think I have to cheat. I'll wait for you at the World Championship. 9 darts. No matter what the competition is, no matter how far I stand, I still only want 9 darts. All the foreign players, including Wilkins, were already cursing in their hearts. F***CK. This guy's style is different from the average Wuxia person. You don't have the demeanor of a great country. You're really petty. Our heads are already so low, and you're still so ruthless? Chen Guang smiled as he watched the group of people run away dejectedly. I'm not targeting anyone. I'm just saying that everyone here is the old man's faith. Brothers, everyone, that's all for today's live broadcast. I'll see you at the World Championship the day after tomorrow. Chen Guang turned to Xianqin's camera and gestured with his finger. He winked. Now that he had won the national championship, the production of the God of Darts statue had finally exceeded the 10,000 mark. Adding on the 29,000 that came from the Sea of Moments mine every day, it felt like a salted fish turning over a new leaf. Just as Chen Guang was thinking about this in his heart, the cup in his hand moved again. Inexplicably, thick white fog flew over from all directions in the sky, covering the sky and covering the earth. It even filled the entire indoor stadium. Chen Guang raised his hand slightly. He even felt that his body was wrapped up in the thick white fog, making it difficult for him to even lift his hand. It was as if his whole body had sunk into a swamp. What the hell is this? Is this faith? Where did it come from? Is it trying to drown me with this thick fog? His nose twitched, and he smelled a familiar scent from the thick white fog. An ominous feeling rose in his heart, and his expression changed drastically. F***ck me. He hurriedly shifted his attention away, no longer thinking about the white fog that was produced by the heavenly Holy Grail. The thick white fog outside finally faded in his perception, and finally disappeared. Chen Guang raised the cup again, and focused his attention on the 5 big and 1 small statues. After a long time, he recovered with a pale face. He stared blankly at the ceiling, and silently said, "Indeed, pornography is the #1 productivity of mankind." The pile driver statue was about to explode. According to the order of appearance, the pile driver was named Little Six. Now that Little Six had just made his debut, he had decisively destroyed the 10,000-year-old Aota statue. Little Six was no bigger than an inch nail. Disregarding the fixed output of 10,000 something in the Sea of Moments, in just a short while, after connecting with everyone in the real world, its daily output had actually soared to 38,000 in one go. Now the total daily production of faith had reached 97,500 and was approaching the 100,000 mark. The benevolent and wise sage Chen Guang couldn't help but feel sad for many people in this world. How stubborn must you all be to silently send so many faith points before the old man even started to advertise? You all don't need to advertise. Who is the strongest man in the world? Everyone, don't let your imaginations run wild. I'm not going to change my name or my surname. Chen Guang silently patted Little Hu's shoulder. That's right, this guy also sent as many as 5 points a day. This poor guy's married life must be super unharmonious. That pungent smell just now. Forget it. Quickly forget about those unhappy things. Let's look at my inventory first. Previously in the Sea of Moments, I didn't use much faith points. After coming out, although I lost a lot of faith points from the Sea of Moments, to the point that it was almost zero, I didn't use up much of the more than 300,000 faith points that I saved before entering the Sea of Moments. Damn it, he suddenly realized something. A day in the real world was equivalent to a year in the transient sea. His exchange rate wasn't more than 200 billion to 29,000. It had to be multiplied by 365. Lori's cheating index has skyrocketed by 365 times. Forget it, she is a god. Her fist is bigger, so she has the final say. This exchange rate is indeed very unscientific, but Lori is a true god. She pays attention to theology and not science. The so-called theology does not reason with you. If God says the heavens are square, then the heavens must be square, let alone a small matter like this. Putting aside those unhappy thoughts, Chen Guang began to feel happy again. According to the current situation, it probably wouldn't take more than a few days to save 600,000. And it wouldn't be so far-fetched to save 6 million. He calculated the time in his heart. Anyway, he was already in Beijing. After participating in the World Darts Championship, he also promised his right-hand woman to go to their whatever concert. Wu Tong was also in Beijing. Although he didn't know where she was training in seclusion, it wouldn't be right for him to come here without telling her. Most importantly, he couldn't get in touch with Wenwen recently. Although Chen Guang knew that she wouldn't encounter any trouble with her ability, he still couldn't stop worrying about her. If she really had any troubles, dragging her to play a few rounds of games to relieve her feelings would be considered being a good friend. Therefore, he estimated that he wouldn't be able to return to Beijing anytime soon. It was better to call Xuelin, his cheap disciple, and ask her to come to Beijing herself. On the other side, Chen Guang sat in the car and called Xuelin. He happily said that he would set off immediately. On the other side, Chen Guang saw that Xianqin didn't get into the car. She looked troubled. Having known her for so long, Chen Guang had never seen this little girl distressed. "What's wrong?" Chen Guang got out of the car and asked. Xianqin shook her head slightly. "Nothing." She looked like she didn't want to talk about it anymore. Then she sat down in the car. "Guys, the competition is over. Do you want to travel somewhere?" The driver arranged by the Escort Association in the front row turned around and asked. He was quite curious about the relationship between these two. They looked like brother and sister, but there was no warmth in their conversation. Especially this ridiculously cute little girl. From time to time, she would sweetly call Mr. Chen brother. And from time to time, she would suddenly go crazy and put on a cold face. She was simply crazy. "No, let's go back to the hotel." Chen Guang had a lot on his mind and wasn't in the mood to travel. Back at the hotel, Xianqin still grabbed the computer to organize the videos. She was typing furiously on the keyboard. Her movements were so fast that Chen Guang was dazzled. Those who didn't know what was going on would think that she was torturing the keyboard. But Chen Guang knew that every time she made a video, the editing was very beautiful. The number of fans on Weibo had increased again. Recently, the content of the comments below basically revolved around the darts competition. Everyone seemed to have gradually adapted to the omnipotence of the almighty Superman. In any case, he crushed whatever he did. Today there was a new hot topic. During the live broadcast, he caught a few of Papalika's unfriendly international friends and scolded them. Enthusiastic fans had made a video of it and posted it on the internet. Wakin's Catalan dialect was translated by some Spanish experts, and it was exactly what Chen Guang said. But for the other two indigenous Indian languages, and the Mauritian indigenous language, no one could say anything about them no matter how noisy the internet was. But without a doubt, when Chen Guang explained the meaning of the two languages, the two foreigners lowered their heads. Their faces were full of fear and helplessness after their prank was exposed. This meant that what Chen Guang said was right. He really wasn't making a wild guess. That was scary. How could there be such an awesome interpreter on the field? From the time he was scolded to the time he exposed the other party's malice, it took less than a minute. How did this guy know the meaning of swear words in 3 different languages? Some kind of unacceptable speculation gradually emerged in the hearts of the almighty Superman fans. Could it be that in addition to racing and sharpening pencils, Brother Almighty was also a hidden linguist? But that didn't make sense at all. The change in style was 2F** King fast. It was hard for us to accept. A certain guy from the Jianhuan College posted below. "Hello everyone. I'm Brother Almighty's schoolmate. We were in the same dormitory during military training, and I've known him for more than 3 years. Let me tell you something. Brother Almighty has taken English band 6 times, and he still hasn't passed. Our college has given him a nickname, 5 consecutive kneels in band 4. You guys can feel it. Pfft. This semester's results haven't come out yet. He'll definitely pass this time." One of Chen Guang's diehard fans was unhappy. Last week when I went to his dormitory, he was still praying to Brother Chen. A group of fans expressed that their outlook on life had been turned upside down. Fortunately, a Spanish expert stood up to change the topic. This dialect of the Catalan province of Tarragona, in the whole of Spain, only a small number of people in the Sumat district of Morid-Lira can speak it. There are no more than 500,000 people in the world who have mastered this language. This language is also a relatively unorthodox dialect in Spain, and the pronunciation is very different from the Orthodox Spanish, just like the relationship between our country's Wunong Rua and the official Mandarin. I can understand the meaning after repeated replays. And it's also because I'm currently living in the Sumat district. I really can't understand how Mr. Chen Guang can understand it. This was the evaluation of the Spanish expert. I'm a Chinese American. My family has been living in the United States for more than 3 generations, and I'm currently studying Native American linguistics. I'm sure that Papalika is speaking some kind of Native American language, but I can only determine a small number of the simplest words, which are similar to the meaning of Chinese. I'm currently contacting my Native American classmates, and I'll give you an accurate translation in half an hour. In any case, this short clip had clearly caused quite a stir on the internet, purely because it was too unreasonable and too sci-fi. After scrolling through his Weibo, Chen Guang browsed through the embarrassing female fans' photos in his private messages one by one. He turned around and noticed the short clip on the video website. When he opened it, he was also shocked. The number of comments had already reached 5,000, and the number of hits had exceeded 1 million in 2 hours. This was going viral. Damn it, who uploaded this video? My advertising fees have been taken away by this bastard. Forget it. I don't lack this bit of money right now. I reckon that little Tsong will send me a large sum of money tomorrow morning. And today's live stream is quite profitable. He quickly fell into another train of thought. Up until now, he had only not been able to erect a statue of God in the world in a cup at the spirit sky level. He didn't think about English, there was no hope. Chilanarm? In this regard, he was like a cow gnawing on a pumpkin, not knowing where to start. It wasn't that he didn't try it in the sea of time, but he lost to a mere sea emperor in arm wrestling, so he instantly gave up on it. But including English, he had mastered 4,979 foreign languages. Of course, there was no hope for English alone, but if he took out nearly 5,000 foreign languages, he could easily beat the entire human race, okay? This statue of God was very easy to erect. He didn't even need to display all of them. He could just pull out 200 or 300, and people would kneel to the point of breaking their knees, okay? The statue of One-Line Sky was more or less different from the statue of Spirit Sky, right? When he thought of this, he couldn't suppress his excitement. On the other side, Xian, who had just finished uploading the video online, also noticed the commotion. She turned around from her swivel chair. Big brother Chen Guang, how did you understand what those people said today? Chen Guang laughed, thinking, I was just about to show off, and you came to ask me, are you an actor sent by God to cooperate with me? Little sister, please pay attention to your words. The person standing in front of you is the greatest linguist in human history. I'm not bragging. As long as it's a language that people on Earth speak, there is no language that I can't understand. He still had to keep a low profile outside, but in front of his own people, he naturally had to speak his mind and not hide his abilities. After saying that, Chen Guang looked at Xian with a smile, waiting for her to look at him with an expression of worship. I don't believe you. He never expected that Xian, one of his own people, would actually undermine him. I'll just say something casually, and if you can translate it, I'll believe you. Seeing Chen Guang's face turn dark, Xian slightly tilted her head, giving him another chance to prove himself. Say it. Shibaya ma dai luo kata guji a. Chen Guang. Damn dog, don't do it for the tribe. Go play the victory. Chapter 517. Tisk, I'm going to wash up and sleep. As the saying goes, acting cool depends on who you're dealing with. For a violent loli like Xian, whose brain circuitry was different from normal people, Chen Guang's acting cool in front of her obviously wouldn't end well. Seeing her turn around and go to the bathroom, she took out a Mickey Mouse toothbrush from her bag and started brushing her teeth. Chen Guang shrugged, indicating that he was defeated by this unromantic child. Sometimes he was also quite puzzled. What did the old man do to deserve this? She didn't ask for a salary, nor did she ask for any benefits, but she always fooled around with him. From time to time, he heard her say things like master and the internal energy in her body, and looking at her usual behavior, although she seemed to be lacking in a brain, she definitely had some background. Could it be that she was like One, some kind of big missy? Needless to say, then the family behind her probably wouldn't last long. Look at what kind of idlers you've raised. Lying on the bed, playing with his phone in boredom, Chen Guang was worried about his tomorrow. The World Championship was the day after tomorrow, which meant that he would have nothing to do tomorrow. This wouldn't do. The old man was now a young man with dreams and pursuits. He had to keep himself busy. Life is short, how can I waste it? Just as he was letting his imagination run wild, he suddenly opened WeChat and clicked on Jiang Ye's profile picture. Although he didn't want to admit it, deep in his heart, he really hoped that Jiang Ye would take a bigger picture. In the end, he didn't see the bigger picture, but the picture in front of him made his scalp go numb. Good luck for the competition the day after tomorrow. It's a pity that I have to prepare for a concert and can't watch it live. Remember to come to the concert at night. Oh right, Sister Shirue and I went to Australia last week and happened to visit the master craftsman Jamie Laurent. I pestered him to make a watch strap. Do you like it? The photo that Jiang Ye sent was the work of Jamie Laurent. There were artistic words printed on the outside of the leather watchband. On it was written in English, left and right hands in light. The artistic words looked like a painting and were very charming. In fact, with Chen Guang's outlook on life, he really didn't understand the special purpose of finding a master to make a watchband for a watch. It was purely because he had too much money. The core function of a watch had already been replaced by a mobile phone. When he was poor, he felt that spending more than 1,000,000 yuan on a watch was a very crazy thing to do. Now that he was rich, he somewhat understood the feelings of those who bought luxury goods. They had too much money and wanted to buy the best of everything. For a watch that had a certain function and could also be used as jewelry, it was not a big deal to spend more than 1,000,000 yuan. The necklaces that people hid in their clothes and could not be seen by others were easily worth millions. But it's fine if you buy a watch. But if you go and find a master to buy a watch strap, that's too much. What's even more embarrassing is that I've already resold the watch. Chen Guang went to search for who Jamie Laurent was, but he couldn't find much information about him. He only saw someone mentioning him on a forum. It was said that this person was the most famous leather goods master in Australia. His style was so high that it made people's hair stand on end. The leather bags he made were worth 10 Louis Vuitton, at the very least. Even a random leather watchband he made was worth tens of thousands of dollars. Chen Guang wanted to curse. You're telling me that a piece of leather the width of 2 fingers is worth tens of thousands of dollars? Are you King kidding me? The world of the rich was really scary. Wait, that's not right. The old man should be considered a rich man by now. It wasn't too much to wear a watch worth more than 1,000,000 yuan, and a watchband worth tens of thousands of dollars was also acceptable. But I don't have a watch now. How can I explain it to her? For a moment he only felt extremely melancholic. Back when he sold the Patek Philippe that he had given to himself, frankly speaking, he didn't feel any guilt. At that time, Chen Guang and Jin Jiang weren't very familiar with each other, and he wasn't pretentious enough to want to be friends with the two superstars. He was just a poor student who was lucky enough to save their lives, and they gave him a gift out of gratitude. Then, the gift was mine, and I could do whatever I wanted with it. After that, we would go our separate ways, and have nothing to do with each other anymore. It was that simple. Back then, he was so poor that he viewed his relationship with Jin Shirue and Jiang Ye purely as a businessman. Without Chen Guang, they really would be dead. If their lives were only worth a few million yuan, that would be a pure insult. Their combined income of hundreds of millions of yuan every year had been a regular on the Forbes celebrity list since they were 16, and had never fallen out of the top 10. The kindness of saving their lives was completely settled with a watch worth more than 1,000,000 yuan. They had made a lot of money, okay? His mother was also waiting for money to save her life. The Patek Philippe took it with its left hand and sold it with its right hand. He didn't know them anything, and they didn't know him anything either. But later, Chen Guang didn't expect that Jin Shirue and Jiang Ye would really treat him as a friend, and that they would be so generous. When dealing with Wang Ren and Su Lijing, they even said that he was Jin Shirue's boyfriend. The word boyfriend was easy to say, but for a young female artist in her 20s, it almost ruined her future. This straightforwardness and loyalty were comparable to that of his and Zhu Jifa's, who had grown up together. Although it was inconceivable and hard to understand, Chen Guang knew that the two of them really regarded him as a friend. There was no need to thank them with words, and it would be hypocritical to say too many polite words. Until now, although Chen Guang didn't always say thank you, the position of Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage in his heart was no longer the same as before. Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage had indeed refreshed his view of celebrities. Although they were glamorous and aloof on TV, accompanied by bodyguards everywhere when they went out, they were still true girls in private. Once they found you pleasing to the eye, they would really be willing to sincerely treat you as a friend. This made Chen Guang very touched and happy. He also remembered the kindness of others, and had already opened his heart to the two of them. After watching your video, oh no, anyway, we will be real friends in the future. After inexplicably becoming true friends, it didn't seem right for him to sell the gift that the girl had carefully prepared for him. It was Bronte Comet's work, and it was even a super limited edition with their artistic signatures embedded on it. Originally, he had almost forgotten about Patek Philippe. The matter was over, and the debt of gratitude could be slowly returned in the future. But suddenly, Jiang Yage made such a statement, which caught him off guard. Chen Guang hesitated. He might as well confess to the two of them and tell them directly, "I sold your watch." No, it was too shameful, and it would make others sad. When a woman gave a man an expensive watch, it often had a different meaning. It was to make the man look down at the watch from time to time, and think of them when he saw the watch. Perhaps this was the intention of the two of them, when they inlaid their names on the watch in the first place. Silently putting down the phone, Chen Guang's mind was filled with confusion. He didn't dare to reply to Jiang Yage's text message at all, and could only think of a way to save himself. Should I lie to them, and say that I left the watch in Wujing and didn't bring it with me? That would be useless. He could hide from the monk, but he couldn't hide from the temple. They had already bought the leather belt worth tens of thousands of dollars, and he couldn't let them plant it in their own hands. With Jiang Yage's character, what if she suddenly attacked him one day and jumped in front of him in Wujing? Dang 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 dang. Give me the watch, I'll change the tape for you. Wouldn't it be even more embarrassing if he was exposed? Looking at the time, it was already 11:30 at night. Never mind, I'll try to contact Linny and see if he can buy the watch back. Although this matter seemed to be quite bullsh*t, back then, when he was poor and in urgent need of money, Xiao Linzi, the man in the white suit, spent 1.2 million yuan to buy the watch without hesitation. He was also very righteous and honest. Now that he was rich, he wanted to buy the watch back. Logically speaking, he was not being kind, but at worst, he could just add a few 100,000 more. If he bought it back for 2 million, he could just treat it as giving him 800,000, right? He just didn't know how much favor Linny had done for the brother in a white suit back then. Maybe it would make Linny a little embarrassed, but weren't brothers meant to be cheated? Compared to making Jiang Yage and Jin Shiyue sad, there was no psychological burden at all to cheat Linny. Brother, what are you doing? It's already so late. On the other side of the phone, Linny was feeling a little drowsy, and it seemed that he was about to fall asleep. What are you doing? It's only 11:30, and you're already asleep? Do you think I'm as restless as you? My biological clock is super scientific, okay? Lin Jingwei defended himself. Linny, who is it? Tell me. Is it one of your childhood sweethearts? Next to him, Gaoya's voice was even more drowsy. Chen Guang. Lin Jingwei. You two can do it. Very good, very powerful. Your biological clocks are very scientific. After a long time, Chen Guang complained. On the other side, Gaoya had heard Chen Guang's voice clearly through the hands-free phone. She blushed and said in a husky voice, I'm Lin Gingxin, Jingwei's cousin. Lin Gingxin, the almighty Superman. Chen Guang? I like your racing videos very much, and I'm your fan. Please pay attention to my new movie. Gaoya, don't pretend to be a man. You two are not real. Chen Guang interrupted Gaoya. Pooh. Gaoya spat and ran off to somewhere unknown. Brother, why did you call me so late? After Gaoya ran away, Lin Gingxin asked with a bitter face. Chen Guang forwarded the picture of the watch that Jiang Yage had sent to Lin Jingwei on WeChat, and then said, Can you contact the white guy who bought my Patek Philippe watch? I want to buy the watch back. Ha. I'll raise the price. I have about 2 million in cash now. I'll raise it by 800,000. Lin Jingwei's face became even more bitter. Brother, this is embarrassing. Money is not a problem. Chen Guang said anxiously. There's no other way. Jiang Yage said she found a leather goods master called Jamie Laurent to make a watch strap. One piece of leather is worth tens of thousands of dollars, and she wants to give it to me. I'm very depressed now. A watch strap made by Jamie himself? He even designed a special artistic font. She had to do a lot of favors to get it. Jiang Yage really cares about you. If I were her, I would be so angry that I wouldn't be able to eat for 3 days if I knew you sold the watch. Lin Jingwei also realized the seriousness of the problem. Don't talk about Shangxin anymore. I've already realized my mistake. I feel guilty. Lin Jingwei agreed. You're worse than a beast. That's right. You heartless and unscrupulous scum. Yes. You're such an ingrate who eats people without spitting out the bones. You're right. That's enough. Say something useful. I turned on the recording. Do you believe I won't clip your conversation with Gao Ya and send it to the class chat group? Lin Jingwei admitted defeat after scolding him twice. Brother, I was wrong. I'll call Brother Xiaobai and see what he has to say. The Brother Bai he was talking about was the young man in a white suit who bought the Patek Philippe watch for 1.2 million without batting an eyelid. Like his name, his clothes and surname were very white. 5 minutes later, Lin Jingwei called back. This is embarrassing. What did Brother Bai say? Brother Bai said that I can take the watch back, but I have to agree to one condition. Is it a price increase? Now that he was not short of money, Chen Guang felt that any problem that could be solved with money was not a problem. No. Brother Bai is right. You have to step over his dead body. Damn it. It's just a watch. Is there a need to do this? What kind of godly condition is this? He also said something else. What? He will beat you up every time he sees you. He won't even give me face, Lin Jingwei said. At this moment, Chen Guang had an uneasy feeling in his heart. He's not finished. Chen Guang was about to break down. Can you finish the bad news in one go? You're going to kill me. He has to go to the concert the day after tomorrow with the watch. He will expose you on the spot and tell Jin Shuriyue that you sold the watch they gave you. Did Brother Bai have a grudge against me in my previous life? Was there a need to set me up like this? Chen Guang was about to explode. Lin Jingwei shook his head. I don't know if there was a grudge in your previous life, but there must be a grudge between you and him in this life. He has been chasing after Jin Shuriyue for 8 to 9 years, since they were teenagers. Now that you've become Jin Shiryue's fake boyfriend, he might not have thought of this if we didn't mention it today. Let's give him a reminder. Then why did you introduce him to me? Who would have thought that you would be so good at stirring up trouble? Even Jin Shiryue had to fake a relationship with you to protect you. Only the few of us knew it was fake. Brother Bai must have thought it was real. He hates you to death. So you're blaming me? It's hard to guard against life's events. Can you at least give me some constructive advice? Lin Jingwei thought for a long time. Brother Guang, I do have a constructive suggestion. What do you mean? Steal your sister. Stealing something worth more than 1 million yuan? Your suggestion is very constructive. You're building a jail cell for me. It's fine. You just have to pay me after this. Brother Bai's circle will not sue you for something worth more than 1 million yuan. This kind of thing was about something else, a matter of face. Actually, he and I are very close, but he doesn't have much hope of wooing Jin Shiryue. He's just trying to save face and teach you a lesson. I'll admit it to you. Brother Bai and I grew up together. I can take responsibility for this. At most, he'll pull my ear and scold me. Chen Guang understood what Lin Jingwei was trying to say. Both sides were close friends. And with Lin Jingwei in the middle to mediate, this matter was neither big nor small. After chatting for a while, Lin Jingwei decided to meet him at the hotel the next morning. They were going to Brother Bai's headquarters in Beijing. It was said that he couldn't bear to wear the watch after he got it, so he kept it in his office as a souvenir. At this time, Bai Hua had no idea that these two great thieves had already set their eyes on Jin Shiryue's souvenir. When it comes to relationships, there's no right or wrong. If it wasn't for Chen Guang's interference, with Bai Hua and Jin Shiyue's family background, as long as Bai Hua worked hard, he might really become Jin Shiyue's fiancé in the future. However, from the moment Jin Shiyue announced that Chen Guang was her boyfriend, Bai Hua had no chance in this lifetime. Chapter 518. Bai Hua recognized Chen Guang as his love rival. There might be a picture of Chen Guang in his secret room in his house. Bai Hua had to face Chen Guang's picture every day to beat him up. Looking at the beautiful middle-aged woman, who kept drawing on his face, Chen Guang felt that Lin Jingwei was doing this on purpose. Brother Guang, let me tell you, in the whole of Beijing, no, in the whole of China, you won't be able to find a better makeup artist than Sister Hua. I know that, but why do I have to dress up as a woman? Brother Xiaobai has a very strong memory. As long as he sees someone once, he will definitely have an impression. If you don't change your appearance slightly, he will recognize you at a glance. We are going to steal something. We can't just rob him. Don't make me do something big. Lin Jingwei took out his phone and explained. Chen Guang looked at him fiercely. You call this changing my appearance? Put your phone away, or I will strangle you to death. Awkwardly putting his phone away, Lin Jingwei helplessly shrugged. Brother Guang, we're doing something we're guilty of, to begin with, so you should sacrifice a little. Don't talk about dressing up as a woman. The robbers in the movies will do anything to steal some famous paintings. Offering a chrysanthemum is a small matter. What about us? Don't worry. This matter will only be known by the heavens, the earth, you and me. I promise I won't let a third party know. I won't even tell Gaoya. When you close your eyes, today will be over. Tomorrow, you will still be the handsome you, and not the sissy you today. Chen Guang pointed at Sister Hua. What about her? Lin Jingwei nodded seriously. It's fine. After she finishes doing your makeup, we will kill her. Sister Hua didn't care. She covered her mouth and laughed. Ayo, that's scary. Ever since young Master Lin went to study at Wujing University, he's getting better at joking with people. And he's getting more and more humorous. Lin Jingwei pointed at Chen Guang. It's all his fault. Sister Hua took another look at Chen Guang. She remembered Lin Jingwei's temperament in the past. Although he was not a playboy, he hated evil, and had a bad temper. It was impossible for him to be ordered around like today. She couldn't help but wonder who this handsome young man was to be able to make young Master Lin live like a completely different person. Xiaolinzi, I'm serious. I'll accept the makeup, but I can also change my appearance a little, right? There's really no need to turn him into a woman, right? Chen Guang still refused to give up. Lin Jingwei couldn't be bothered to talk to him anymore, so he placed the phone in front of Chen Guang. You can first take a look at Brother Xiaobai's life story, which is this by Hua. I'm not trying to trick you. If you don't put on a completely subversive makeup, he will really see through you. Chen Guang rolled his eyes. Is he that amazing? Then he was speechless. Bai Hua, the current deputy general manager of Wuxia Tianjin Energy Group, was 23 years old. He entered the University of Science and Technology at the age of 12 and graduated at the age of 14. At the age of 16, he entered Cambridge University through special channels to obtain a double doctorate in psychology and economics. At the age of 18, he passed the bar exam and became an official employee of the largest law firm in Europe. At the age of 22, he returned to China to work and was quickly promoted to the position of Deputy General Manager of Wuxia Tianjin Energy Group. He was currently in charge of the Middle East and Europe business of Tianjin Energy Group. Chen Guang sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn it, this son of a B***TCH was just like Tang Ying's brother Tang Xiaokai. Both of them were living a F***king life. Now you know how powerful I am, right? I have to say, Brother Xiaobai is really a genius in our generation. I'm being modest when I say he has a good memory. He's a freak. Also, you know about the profession of a lawyer, right? What is he best at? He would pick holes in every word someone said, in every detail of the case. Not a single clue could escape his eyes. If I don't change your gender, you won't be able to hide it from him at all. Chen Guang flipped the table. Damn it. You're going alone. I'm not going. Lin Jingwei chuckled. My brother. It's hard to find a brother like me even if you look for a lantern, right? Such a big thing, such a big pot. I've helped you take it. How can you let me go alone? You're not worried? Aren't you afraid that I'll mess things up in Brother Xiao? Will lock the limited edition Patek Philippe in the bank's vault? Where are we going to get it then? All right, you don't have to say anymore. Let's do it. He had dug a hole for himself, so he had to fill it up with tears. Chen Guang had to bite the bullet and drag Xiaolin down with him. He did not want to back down at the last minute. That was why he did not like to owe people favors. Sooner or later, he would have to return all the favors that he owed others. With that thought in mind, Chen Guang lifted his head and looked at Lin Jingwei. He suddenly felt that this debt of gratitude was a never-ending cycle. To be honest, he owed little Linny again. Forget it, he did not have to return it anyway. No wonder Sister Hua was known as the best makeup artist in Beijing. 2 hours later, she had completed the extremely difficult sex change makeup for her. Even though it took her 2 hours, the effect that she managed to achieve was something that those with lower standards might not even be able to achieve in 6 to 7 hours. Lin Jingwei smiled with his eyes squinted. Sister Hua, you're amazing. I can't even recognize Brother Guang at all. You're practically a supermodel. You have a spot in this year's Victoria's Secret fashion show. Sister Hua chuckled. It's all right. It's all because Mr. Chen has a good foundation. His facial features are exquisite, and he usually looks handsome. Even after the sex transformation makeup, he still looks perfect. It's like nature itself. No. Ugly people always do mischief. Sister Hua, you're the best. Can you two give me a mirror so that I can look at myself? Chen Guang looked at the two of them who were judging him, especially Lin Jingwei's smirk. He wanted to strangle him to death. Brother Guang, I suggest that you don't look at it. You'll be mesmerized to death. Also, can you stop talking? You're ruining the beauty. 5 seconds later, Lin Jingwei submitted to Chen Guang's fierce gaze and handed him the mirror. Damn, I've fallen in love with myself. Looking at the person in the mirror, Chen Guang couldn't believe his eyes. Forget it, he shouldn't say too much. He was afraid that his stomach would hurt if he said too much. In short, it was what Lin Jingwei had said. A supermodel with European and American style. But this was him. If you dare take out your skirt again, I'll really kill you. In the end, Chen Guang put on a neutral white shirt and a wig. That was it. As for her breasts, that wasn't a problem. How many supermodels had big breasts? Flat breasts were the way to go. There was no need for such a strong taste of silicone. Chen Guang's chest muscles were more or less shaped. The two of them sat in the car. Chen Guang's face was as cold as ice. He didn't say a word. Little Lin, every time you look at me, your life is shortened by a day. I'm counting the days for you. Brother, don't. I'm risking my life to accompany a gentleman, okay? The two of them first went to a luxury store in the center of Wujing to buy a Patek Philippe. Of course, it wasn't a limited edition, but it looked no different from the one left and right hand gave to Chen Guang. The only difference was that it didn't have the commemorative logo of Bronte Comet and left and right hand. That's right, this was a trick. What should we do when we get there? Have you thought about it? Chen Guang had been holding himself back from wiping his face. He felt extremely uncomfortable, and he was filled with admiration for those women. He had no idea how they managed to survive with such heavy makeup on. At this time, his face seemed to be covered with a layer of oil. It was extremely awkward, but he couldn't touch it with his hands. If he did, the powder would fall off. Don't worry, I have a plan, Lin Jingwei said vaguely. Seriously, don't play dumb with me. The price I've paid today is too big. Chen Guang just wanted to eat people. He thought to himself, loyal believers of right Chun in the sea of time, I've let you down. I've tarnished the great and omnipotent sage right and prophet in your hearts. All right, we'll act according to the circumstances. So you're saying that there's no plan? Acting according to the circumstances is the world's most flexible, and most reliable comprehensive plan. All-encompassing, all-powerful. Today, the two of us will leave behind a beautiful legend of a male and female thief in the martial world. Lin Jingwei began to lie through his teeth. Perhaps Chen Guang had to muster all the courage in his life to resist the urge to strangle Lin Jingwei to death. He silently turned on his phone. He didn't want to talk to Lin Jingwei anymore. So he opened his class's group chat to see if Lin Jingwei had taken any photos and sent them out. No, very good, he had escaped death once. Bai Nyangzi was shouting in the group. I'm going to the women's section to force a vote. Everyone, hurry up and vote for me. The title of the novel is Billionaire. Chen Guang slammed his phone shut. After today, he would probably have to read at least 10 super cool novels about macho men to return to full health. After we go up, you and I will go straight to Brother Bai's office. His secretary Sister Song knows me, so she won't stop us. When we get to the office, we'll work together according to the situation. Finally, they arrived at the Tianjin Energy Building and got off together. Lin Jingwei cautiously instructed, "Don't open your mouth later, or else you'll be exposed." Shut up, am I that stupid? The supermodel was quite impatient. The Tianjin Energy Building was located between the 3rd and 4th Ring Road of Beijing. It was nearly 40 stories tall. In a place like Beijing where every inch of land was worth its weight in gold, it could be considered a symbol of the power of this central enterprise with an amazing background. There were a total of 8 elevators in the building. 7 of them had a lot of people going in and out, but the last one was empty. When they entered the elevator, Chen Guang understood. There were tens of thousands of people working here in a building with nearly 40 floors. This unlucky elevator actually had to be unlocked with fingerprints. Obviously, only certain people could use this elevator. Seeing that Chen Guang was about to open his mouth to complain, Lin Jingwei hurriedly gestured for him to keep quiet, then pointed at the surveillance camera above him. Chen Guang rolled his eyes and said no more. Lin Jingwei suddenly turned his face to the side. Damn, Brother Guang was too beautiful today. His heart was beating faster. He also began to ponder in his heart. He really had to keep this matter to himself. It was 2F*King embarrassing. The two went straight up to the 33rd floor. After exiting the door, they saw a hall full of people coming and going. Everyone was walking in a hurry, and the sounds of printers and scanners could be heard one after another. The sound of keyboard tapping was like a beautiful piece of music. This was the headquarters of Tianjin Energy Group, a large central enterprise with an annual output of hundreds of billions. Its business was spread all over the world. In the Third World, it was enough to influence the policies of a country. It was quite unique in the construction and technical services of oil and gas extraction. Chapter 519. Chen Guang's gaze passed through the glass at the front desk and looked inside. The densely packed cubicles were filled with attentive office workers. From what he could see, there were at least a few hundred people who were busy with something. Little son, have you prepared the materials for tomorrow's meeting? Check it again. There can't be a single mistake. The words must be appropriate, and the meaning must be clear. Manager Jiang, the Saudi Alam Company's quotation for the installation of the pipeline has come back. They still have complaints about our high-temperature work fees. What about the past performance of England's Besman? Little Ding, I'll give you another half an hour. You must bring it to me. Everything here was so busy. It seemed messy, but it was also orderly. Chen Guang couldn't help but feel emotional. Thinking about it carefully, this was the first time he had entered the headquarters of a large company. He wondered why the company that Luli had bought for him hadn't done anything yet. He wondered if his company, which was worth more than 100 million, could have the same charm as the headquarters of the Tianjin Group. It was different from lying comfortably in the instantaneous sea and looking for people to talk to and collect faith points every day. Bob's Right Cultural Communication Company was more like a religion that charged fees than a company. Being a prophet or a sage in the sea was completely different from being an entrepreneurial person. If he could really sit in an office with hundreds or even thousands of people under him working hard because of his decision, he would feel a great sense of achievement. If he could lead such a large group of people to accomplish something that seemed difficult, but would be very profitable after success. While Chen Guang was looking at others, the receptionists at the headquarters of the Tianjin Group were also looking at him and Lin Jingwei. Under normal circumstances, there wouldn't be any unfamiliar faces on this floor. Only when the senior leaders of the group brought people to visit, or when the senior executives of other domestic and foreign companies, or governments, came to discuss business with the company's senior executives, would they come out of this special elevator. However, business meetings were usually held downstairs and wouldn't go up to the 33rd floor. Then how did these two people come up to this floor when they looked so young? But that tall girl was really beautiful and looked very heroic. She was so tall and had a good figure. Was she a model? Yo, young Master Lin? Which gust of wind blew you here today? Right at this moment, a middle-aged man with a big belly passed by the front desk. Before Lin Jingwei could greet the receptionist, he called out in a low voice, turned around, and quickly walked towards the direction where the two of them were standing. Chen Guang looked at Lin Jingwei suspiciously. In fact, he had felt that Lin Jingwei's family was not ordinary since he was a freshman. However, he never took the initiative to mention it, and Chen Guang was too lazy to ask. But yesterday, he had said that he had grown up in the same courtyard as Brother Bai, and then he had seen Bai Hua's amazing life experience. It was true that Bai Hua was indeed a monster, but to be able to sit in the position of Tianjin Energy Group's deputy general manager at such a young age, it was impossible for him to just use a genius cheat and be done with it. He also needed a backer cheat. Only by using both cheats could he achieve great things. Then, what about Lin Jingwei, who lived in the same courtyard as Bai Hua? Chen Guang narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Jingwei. Thinking about it carefully, didn't this guy's background also go through the roof? When the middle-aged fatty greeted Lin Jingwei, it was not an act. He was truly surprised. His attitude towards Lin Jingwei was respectful from the bottom of his heart, and he was unreservedly happy to see the real person. Damn it, the people around me are all monsters, but I'm just a loser. What do you want me to do about this? It's okay. Fortunately, I have Liuli and the Heavenly Holy Grail. Thinking about it carefully, I still have a stronger backer. You are. Lin Jingwei actually couldn't remember what this guy's name was. Hehe. Young Master Lin, you are really forgetful. I am Little Jiang. Last year during the company's annual meeting, you sat with CEO Bai. I came over to toast to you. Manager Jiang nodded and bowed. Chen Guang was almost disgusted to death. Uncle, you look like you are in your 50s. Are you trying to make the old man have goosebumps by calling him Little Jiang? Lin Jingwei was also a little embarrassed. He laughed and said, Hey, I remember. Look at my poor memory. Nice to meet you, Mr. Jiang. Even a blind person could see that Lin Jingwei didn't remember anything. He was purely lying through his teeth. Young Master Lin, are you looking for CEO Bai? But CEO Bai is in a meeting. I'm afraid he won't be out for a while. How about I bring you to CEO Bai's office first? Manager Jiang was a smart person. How could he not know that Lin Jingwei was just brushing him off? He didn't mind at all. Instead, he got even more enthusiastic. Okay, Sister Chen, come with me. Lin Jingwei was too lazy to talk anymore. He turned around and greeted Chen Guang. Sister Chen. F***CK. At this moment, Chen Guang felt that his teeth were about to shatter. After the group of people walked away, a few girls at the front desk whispered, This Sister Chen is really beautiful. Is she a celebrity? I think she might be a T. T. What do you mean? Why are you so old-fashioned? She's a homosexual. The kind that likes women. How is that possible? She looks so cool. She's a T because she's cool, okay? Among the homosexuals, there has to be someone more masculine. The one who is more masculine is a T. Sigh, it's a pity that I have a boyfriend. Otherwise, I would chase after her. Young Master Lin and Sister Chen are looking for CEO Bai, right? I heard that Sister Song is. Shoo. Don't gossip. If this gets out, you'll be in trouble. Come, let's work. In the end, Manager Jiang could not accompany Lin Jingwei all the way to Bai Hua's office. The secretary team leader, Sister Song, saw Lin Jingwei from afar and came to greet him. She said the same thing as Manager Jiang, but she did not seem to be so servile. After all, she was a popular person in front of Bai Hua, and had seen Lin Jingwei many times. Young Master Lin is here to look for CEO Bai, right? Why don't I go and greet CEO Bai? Sister Song snatched him away from Manager Jiang and said with a smile. Lin Jingwei quickly waved his hand. No need, no need. I don't dare to disturb Brother Bai's work. Actually, I brought my friend Sister Chen to Tianjin for a walk. Sister Chen just came back from studying in America and wants to see the atmosphere of our country's big companies. Sister Song, you don't have to worry about us. Don't disturb Brother Bai. Bai Hua's absence was a godsend. Lin Jingwei could not wait for Bai Hua's meeting to end. How could he let Sister Song call Bai Hua back? Chen Guang felt that the way Sister Song looked at him was not right. It made his hair stand on end. He was very flustered and confused. Sister Song was not very old. She should be around 30 years old. Although she was not dressed fashionably, she was dressed in a smart white-collar outfit. However, her facial features were very delicate. Coupled with her shoulder-length hair, she gave off a very capable and shrewd feeling. The two of them sat on the sofa in Bai Hua's office. Chen Guang was silently picking up the coffee that Sister Song had personally poured for him. He forced himself to be very elegant but very twisted. Everything looked very normal, except for Sister Song's occasional sneak peeks at Chen Guang, which made his heart feel cold. Sister Song was usually very busy with work. However, Bai Hua's good friend, young Master Lin, had personally brought people to visit. In the huge Tianjin group, other than her, there was no one else suitable to receive them. She was the leader of the secretarial team, so she could accompany them and chat with Lin Jingwei from time to time. However, in her heart, she was wondering which family this Sister Chen that young Master Lin mentioned was from. Her fingers were so beautiful, and she was so elegant when she drank her coffee. She was so cool that she had no friends. She was practically the same as those international supermodels on TV. For some reason, Sister Song was chatting with Lin Jingwei when she was momentarily lost in thought. Sister Song? Sister Song? Lin Jingwei raised his voice slightly and called out to her. Sister Song suddenly came back to her senses. Her face was slightly red. I'm sorry, young Master Lin. I just remembered something about the company. You should go do what you have to do. You really don't have to accompany us here for nothing. Lin Jingwei quickly took the opportunity to say. Sister Song waved her hand. It's no big deal. Young Master Lin, you coming to our company is a big deal. Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei looked at each other. Their hearts were full of bitterness. Bai Hua was in a meeting. This was such a good opportunity. Big sis, why don't you leave for a while and give us a chance to do something under the table? The three of them sat in the office for more than half an hour. Sister Song was indeed a strong woman in the workplace. Although most of her attention was on Chen Guang, she was still able to chat with Lin Jingwei. They talked about life's dreams, astronomy, geography, left and right hands, and the recently released Tears for a Nation. Then, they talked about Lin Jingwei's own environmental science and the business connections of Tianjin Energy Group. There was actually no awkward silence. Sister Song was very satisfied with her performance today. She had once again received President Bai, a childhood friend with an amazing background, perfectly. Such a difficult task. In the entire Tianjin group, only I, Song Ting, can do it. How could she have imagined that Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei were about to cry? The limited edition Patek Philippe watch was placed in the glass cabinet next to the office. It was within reach. Lin Jingwei also knew the password of the lock. It was the 6 numbers of Bai Hua's parents' birthdays. As long as the two of them were given 30 seconds of free time, the two of them would be able to steal the watch at lightning speed. However, it wasn't that the two of them weren't capable, but that the enemy was too capable. Big sis, why don't you leave? Don't you need to pee? Are you that free? At this moment, a man in a white suit opened the door. Song Ting, give me the information you sorted out yesterday. He was in a hurry. When he looked up, he saw Lin Jingwei sitting near the door. Yo Jingwei, you're here? I'm in a meeting. I don't think it will end anytime soon. Song Ting deftly handed a stack of documents to him. He lowered his head and flipped through them. He seemed to have thought of something and said without raising his head, Jingwei, come with me to the meeting room and listen in. If you want to do environmental protection, you'll have to follow my path in the future. Clumsy birds have to fly early. I'll let you get used to it first and see the world. As he spoke, He turned and walked out while pulling Lin Jingwei's shoulder. Lin Jingwei was stunned. Hey, don't dawdle. Time is of the essence. Bai Hua dragged Lin Jingwei away just like that. He didn't even notice Chen Guang, who was sitting on the sofa pretending to be calm. He didn't dare to come up and talk to Lin Jingwei, for fear of exposing himself. Looking at Lin Jingwei's figure gradually getting further and further away, then looking at Song Ting who was slowly approaching him with a faint but profound smile, Chen Guang felt a chill in his heart. Hello, I'm Song Ting. Young Master Lin said you're Chen Yu, right? Nice to meet you. Song Ting stood in front of Chen Guang and smiled at Chen Guang enthusiastically. Can I have your number? Chen Guang looked up at Song Ting and screamed in his heart. Who's going to save me? According to the old man's experience, this chick is a woman. She has feelings for me. Chapter 520. Now that my shield, Lin Jingwei, is gone, can I pretend to be mute in front of her? Chen Guang thought to himself. Song Ting gently sat down again and leaned against Chen Guang. The distance was very close, but there was no unnecessary skin contact. As a professional, she was able to express this level of intimacy just right. She could also let others feel her closeness, but it wouldn't make the other party wary. Song Ting had learned a lot when she sat down. Of course, the prerequisite for all the above techniques was that the person she was approaching had to be a real woman. But the person sitting here was Chen Guang, a pure man who would definitely expose himself the moment he opened his mouth. At this moment, there were only two words in Chen Guang's mind. I want to die. Is your throat not feeling well? I have a throat treasure in my desk drawer. Do you want me to get one for you? Song Ting was still smiling sweetly. The more she looked at the side of Chen Guang's face, the more she felt that this chiseled face was filled with a breathtaking heroic spirit. This was a perfect woman, who was so cool that she had no friends. Just as some rumors in the company said, Song Ting was indeed a lily lover. This was almost an open secret, but it did not affect her survival in the workplace. She was able to become Bai Hua's most trusted secretary because of her smart and capable work ability, and it had nothing to do with her sexual orientation. On the contrary, this made it so that she would never have any workplace scandals with Bai Hua. Chen Guang opened his mouth slightly. Just when he was about to speak because of Song Ting, he suddenly remembered that he could not open his mouth now. So he quickly pinched his throat and coughed sharply twice to muddle through. Song Ting, however, believed him and was about to get up to help him get the throat treasure. At this moment, Chen Guang's heart suddenly rang with a laughter that made his hair stand on end. It came from the heavenly holy grail that Lin Jingwei had deliberately prepared for him. It was Liuli. Ha 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 ha. You idiot. Are you trying to make me die of cuteness? Are you doing this on purpose? You suddenly gave me such a big surprise. I can't take it. It was obvious that Liuli didn't pay attention to Chen Guang's affairs all the time. For example, today, Chen Guang thought that she should have known everything from the very beginning. In the end, he only heard her vicious criticism now. Moreover, it was obvious that she didn't know before, so he didn't know whether he should be happy or sad. Chen Guang blushed. He had lost face in front of the gods. What he didn't know was that Song Ting, on the other side, was distracted by his blushing face. Even her hand that was opening the drawer trembled. Can you not be like this? If you pretend you didn't see anything, we can still be happy friends in the future. Chen Guang could finally speak in his heart. However, Luli continued to chuckle and said, That won't do. The memory of a god is eternal. Once you see it, the memory of today won't fade even after millions of years. Forget it. Seeing that you are so serious today, this empress will reluctantly use a little bit of my divine power to help you. As soon as she finished speaking, Chen Guang felt a slight chill in his throat. An extremely cold feeling appeared out of nowhere. He didn't know what she had done to Liuli. No need to thank me. I will temporarily pass this empress' perfect voice to you, even in the endless god realm. With the support of this empress' divine power, your voice will be exactly the same as mine. How can you only care about the appearance and not pay attention to the inside? You are a person who seeks perfection to the extreme. After saying that, Liuli chuckled and didn't move. At this moment, Chen Guang didn't know whether to thank her or hate her. Thinking about it carefully, she didn't continue to waste her divine power to give him a pair of real 2 lumps in front of his chest. Sister Song, you're too polite. I'm fine. Seeing Song Ting walk back with the throat treasure, Chen Guang hurriedly said. As soon as the words left his mouth, his mind became slightly dazed. He couldn't help but recall the scene from a long time ago, when he had just obtained the heavenly Holy Grail. At that time, he was captivated by Liuli's divine voice. Not good. He hurriedly looked at Song Ting. Sure enough, the originally strong career woman, Song Ting, was actually frozen in place. It's over, she's been captivated. What am I supposed to do now? At this time, the office door was suddenly pushed open. Lin Jingwei had returned. Chen Guang was overjoyed, thinking that Lin Jingwei had come to save him. However, when he saw Bai Hua standing behind him, he was at a loss. What was going on? Was he exposed? Bai Hua had an apologetic smile on his face. Is this Miss Chen Yu? Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. I was so busy just now that I saw Jingwei. Please forgive me for my negligence. Since Miss Chen Yu wants to see how our domestic enterprise works, it just so happens that although today's meeting is of high standards, there is no need to keep it a secret. It's just a negotiation of intent. So Miss Chen Yu might as well listen in. Bai Hua had nothing to say to Lin Jingwei. This matter wasn't brought up by Lin Jingwei. But when they were on the way to the conference room, they happened to meet Manager Jiang, and this fat man mentioned it. When Bai Hua heard that this person was Lin Jingwei's friend, he hurriedly turned back. Originally, it was understandable for him to bring Lin Jingwei to the conference room to listen in. However, he didn't know much about this Chen Yu before, so he was willing to bring him to see the world. It was all because of Lin Jingwei's face. Lin Jingwei looked at Chen Guang helplessly. Just as he was about to say that his throat wasn't feeling well, Chen Guang awkwardly nodded at Bai Hua and said, Then I'll have to thank Director Bai. He was indeed worthy of being the sage right Chen of the Sea of Time, who saw through the fickleness of the human world. At a critical moment, no matter how uncomfortable he felt, and how much he wanted to vomit, his ability to maintain his composure, even if MT Tai collapsed in front of him, wasn't something that Lin Jingwei could compare with. Chen Guang felt proud in his heart. Sure enough, at a critical moment, it's still this old lady. F***ck. The old man is calm. Lin Jingwei's entire body trembled. He fiercely shook his head and stared blankly at Chen Guang. His face was as if he had seen a ghost. He had seen Sister Hua do the makeup, but Brother Guang, what the hell is with your voice? Don't scare me. Is this your natural outburst? Or did you suddenly learn some amazing voice mimicry skills? Or are you the Chen Mulan who's been hiding in our male dormitory for 3 years? Why am I panicking like this? On the other side, Bai Hua didn't think too much about it. He only looked at Chen Guang a few more times and smiled politely. Miss Chen Yu is truly a heavenly beauty. This way, please. The intermission of the conference had long since ended. He had already delayed for 2 minutes, so he hurriedly walked towards the conference room. The two of them followed behind Bai Hua. Lin Jingwei turned his head and looked at Chen Guang with a face full of suspicion. There were 100,000 questions hidden in his eyes. Chen Guang didn't have any ideas in his mind either. He gave him a look and thought, is this what you mean by acting according to the situation? Why do I feel like we're drifting further and further apart? In the large conference room, there were about 17 or 18 people sitting around the long table. 5 or 6 of them were wearing traditional Arab clothing, and the rest were other attendants. After Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei followed them in, they didn't sit in a particularly conspicuous position. Instead, they arranged for Bai Hua to sit in a corner behind the rostrum and listen from the side. Chapter 521. Brother Guang, what do we do now? Lin Jingwei asked softly, shrinking his neck. Why the F***ck are you asking me? I'm telling you, I've paid a huge price today. If I can't get my watch back, you can wait to be air-dried on the flagpole outside the school library. Don't be like that. Let's take it one step at a time. There will always be a chance. Also, your fairy-like voice, coupled with your manly tone, Is 2F** king unique? Shut up. You'll give yourself away if you keep talking nonsense. In fact, Chen Guang was also quite interested in the high-level business negotiation meeting of a multinational corporation like Tianjin Energy. A long time ago, he had told Lu Fei that he wanted to learn how to do business, but unfortunately, there had never been a good opportunity. Today, by a freak combination of factors, he had come to this high-end international negotiation meeting to listen in. It could be considered a good opportunity to learn and train. Since he was already here, he might as well take things as they come. In any case, he was already dragged here, and there was no way for him to get his watch for the time being. Hence, Chen Guang decided to seriously listen. Lin Jingwei handed over a document from the side. It was probably related to the meeting, so that he could understand the situation better. Chen Guang looked up and took it. Only then did he realize that Manager Jiang, who was sitting in the corner, was giving him and Lin Jingwei a flattering look. Look, this is a real professional. He has a keen sense of smell, and he's so skilled in flattery. He can make people feel comfortable and useful. He's really a talent. As Chen Guang looked at the documents and listened to the negotiations, it didn't take long for him to understand the situation. He touched his mouth. This was a little interesting. What he meant by interesting was not that he was really a genius who could instantly understand the workings of multinational business. He only knew that this was a competitive negotiation between three companies from the Arab region, or the administrative units of small countries. The 5 or 6 people dressed in traditional Arab clothing were obviously the representatives of the 3 Arab forces, including the Aolan company that he had heard of before. The content of the negotiations mainly involved Tianjin Energy Group and one of the 3 parties to jointly build a shale gas energy project that was very difficult to exploit. Tianjin Energy Group would provide the technology, and one of the 3 companies would provide economic and policy support. At present, Tianjin Corporation was considered to be at the leading level in the relevant technologies in the world. There were also companies in Europe and the United States that could do the same. However, it was very obvious that the conditions provided by the Wuxia Empire, when cooperating with other countries in this area, were far more favorable than those in Europe and the United States. This was also the advantage that the Wuxia Empire's multinational corporations had in recent years in the Third World, or the Arabian region. Compared to the Western companies that demanded sky-high prices, others were more willing to work with Chinese companies. The specific content of the negotiations between the 3 companies was roughly to point out their own strengths. At the same time, it also involved the extent to which Tianjin Group would be able to obtain in the future. What really interested Chen Guang was that the translation used during the negotiation process was not English, but Arabic. Things suddenly became interesting. Of course, international business negotiations would mostly use English, which was commonly used internationally. Although the representatives of the 3 Arab companies were all legitimate Arab nobles, and their habitual language was indeed their mother tongue, Chen Guang was still rather surprised that they actually used a foreign language as a translation in such a high-end meeting. In any case, the mother tongue of a few Arabs was enough to stun Lin Jingwei, who had passed English Level 4 in his first year of university, and boasted that his English dictation had reached international standards. However, Chen Guang felt that it sounded exactly like his mother tongue to him. As he listened to the meeting, he sized up the middle-aged interpreter who was speaking to Bai Hua. He began to rub his mouth. This guy, there's something fishy about him. This person's standards were very high, and his little tricks were extremely hidden. If one wasn't particularly familiar with Arabic, or in other words, if one wasn't close to using this language as their mother tongue, they wouldn't be able to tell the trick at all. As the saying goes, if a Chinese's English was taken overseas, it would be very easy for people to tell the difference, even if it was through a phone. No matter how standard the pronunciation was, there was still a clear difference between the mother tongue and the foreign language. If English was like this, then there was no need to mention Arabic, which was even more of a minority. On the surface, the interpreter had indeed translated the 3 Arab nobles' words verbatim. He was also dutifully translating Bai Hua's speech, and even the second interpreter who was in charge of monitoring and listening to the side couldn't tell that there was a problem. But in reality, this person's translation was biased. He was clearly focusing on that AO Long company. In Chinese official writing, some words were used with special skills such as must, should, must, as soon as possible, prohibit, strictly prohibit, and so on. Different words represented different tones. In the process of writing an official document, Yan Jin had to be very careful when using the above words. Often, a single word difference could cause a misunderstanding when formulating a policy or releasing a document. Similarly, there were similar words in Arabic, and even the same word could be expressed in many different ways. For example, when the interpreter mentioned the two companies, he said something along the lines of, "We will fully cooperate with you in the construction of the pipeline in Anlar province to eliminate all engineering difficulties." But when he translated, he changed the words fully cooperate to fully cooperate. The addition of the word fully cooperate seemed to emphasize, but in reality, it was weakening. When it was AO Long Company's turn, it became fully cooperate. The difference was self-evident. Although the three companies' representatives had expressed their statements in their mother tongues almost the same, when he translated it to Bai Hua's ears, it didn't sound right. This could be considered a very high-end unspoken rule in the translation industry. Using a controllable difference in expression during the negotiation process, one would unknowingly be biased and benefit one party. Now that English was the most popular language in the world, it was very difficult to do so. But for a small language like Arabic, a person with a high enough standard could do it in public. Of course, the risk was also very high. Once it was exposed, the person's reputation would basically be ruined, and his career would also come to an end. But the greater the risk, the greater the benefits. There would always be people who would take the risk, and today, Chen Guang had witnessed it firsthand. It was really a coincidence. If Chen Guang hadn't been here today, if he hadn't happened to pass through the language master's version of the Sea of Moments and become a language tyrant, he might have really been fooled by this middle-aged interpreter today. At first, Chen Guang didn't intend to meddle in other people's business. After all, this was someone else's meeting, and he only wanted to bring his ears along. But after the meeting had gone on for about an hour, when Lin Jingwei was already falling asleep with his chin propped on his hand, Bai Hua had already gradually become biased towards AO Long Company under the subtle influence of this interpreter. Although this was only a negotiation of intent, after today, AO Long Company would clearly have an advantageous position among the three bidders. This was obviously unfair to the other two companies, and it could also cause hidden dangers to Bai Hua and the Tianjin Energy Group behind him. AO Long Company wasn't being honest. Chen Guang gradually couldn't sit still. If he had nothing to do with this Bai Hua, he naturally couldn't be bothered to meddle in other people's business. But today he was a thief. He wanted to steal something from someone else, and in the beginning, he still owed someone a favor. Now he had inexplicably stolen someone else's childhood sweetheart. Although he had a clear conscience about being a love rival, he still owed someone something after taking their money. It was fine if he couldn't tell, but now he had to be a thief, owe someone a favor. And here's something fishy about this matter. Knowing that Bai Hua was going to suffer a big loss, how could he just ignore it? This brother is an upright person. He felt like he was sitting on pins and needles, and his whole body felt uncomfortable. Finally, Chen Guang poked Lin Jingwei's shoulder. "Wake up, ask Manager Jiang who this Arabic interpreter is. Where did you find him?" Lin Jingwei opened his eyes in a daze. Although he didn't know what Chen Guang wanted to do, he still asked honestly. "This is Professor Liu from the Capital Foreign Language University. He's an authority on the Arabic language in our country, and is quite famous in the world. I think he was introduced by another vice president. Among the three Arabic companies, the person in charge of AO Long Company's English is especially poor, so everyone asked Professor Liu to help. It's not a problem to translate directly into Arabic, and it'll be easier to communicate." Chen Guang immediately understood his brother. Sure enough, He had run into a big problem while attending a meeting today. Did the Arab aristocrat from Aolan Company really not understand English? That might not be the case. Based on Chen Guang's ears, as a super language master, who had 5,000 foreign languages, even when this guy was speaking in his mother tongue, his pronunciation hit some very deep habits. Not only did he understand English, but he could also be considered proficient in it. This meant that he was pretending. He was acting. Professor Lu was also biased towards him when he relayed the information. This professor was introduced by another vice president of Tianjin Company. This was clearly a trap dug by that vice president, Aolan Company, and this Professor Lu. Not to mention how badly Bai Hua would be tricked. But if Aolan Company were to win the bid, Tianjin Company would definitely suffer a certain degree of loss, and the three parties who dug the trap would definitely benefit. Forget it. Since I'm already here, I might as well do Bai Hua a favor. Chen Guang secretly made up his mind. He wasn't in a hurry to expose the other party on the spot. After all, this was a big occasion, and he was just an outsider. If he rashly jumped out, he would only become a laughing stock. When the meeting was over, Bai Hua would definitely look for Lin Jingwei and himself in private. At that time, he would help him expose Professor Lu's little tricks. I'll tell you a secret. This Professor Lu is up to something. Chen Guang said softly to Lin Jingwei and said no more. Lin Jingwei was completely at a loss. Stop fooling around. What do you know? Hee, I know Arabic. This bastard actually dared to look down on me. I can't tolerate it. Congratulations, Sister Yu. You're the champion of this year's lying competition. How could Lin Jingwei believe him? This was King Arabian Nights, okay? Brother Guang, the image of you kneeling in front of a level 4 Qin, Hui 5 times is still fresh in my mind. Now you're telling me that you know Arabic? Don't bully me because I don't understand science. Sister Yunai. Chen Guang couldn't be bothered with him. Chapter 522. About an hour and a half later. This seemingly calm, but actually surging intent negotiation meeting finally came to an end in a harmonious and friendly atmosphere. Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei both had sores all over their bodies from sitting, but in order to get back the limited edition Patek Philippe, they had to endure it no matter how tiring it was. Bai Hua was quite satisfied with the results of today's negotiations. He had finally broken the deadlock and was starting to see some signs of progress with the three companies. He was especially satisfied with the many conditions that Aolan Corporation had put forth. Jingwei, you two go to my office and sit for a while. I'll come back after I send them off, and then I'll show you around the company, Bai Hua instructed. He wouldn't forget about Lin Jingwei even if he was busy. Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei were overjoyed. This was an opportunity. Song Ting, accompany Jingwei for me. Damn it. Are you done? The two sat in Bai Hua's office for another 20 minutes. During this time, Song Ting was so enthusiastic that even Lin Jingwei felt that something was wrong. The two were miserable. Whenever they had the chance, they would glance at the glass display case. Unfortunately, the item was placed there, but it was so close that it was worlds apart. Finally, Bai Hua came back with a smile on his face, surrounded by a group of people. From his expression, he seemed to be in a good mood. However, Chen Guang was a little hesitant, because Professor Lu was still following behind Bai Hua like a trusted aide. If he made it clear now, he would be offending someone. But if he didn't say it now, Bai Hua might not believe him when the time was up, and Aolan Corporation might have already gotten what they wanted. Forget it. There's no point in doing things cautiously. It's not a big deal to offend Professor Lu. Perhaps it was because Chen Guang had spent too long in the sea of time, but he had become more decisive in his actions compared to the past, even if there weren't any changes in his bones. He took big strides and quickly walked up. Bai Hua was about to introduce the person behind him. This is... Chen Guang looked at Professor Lu and said, Hello, are you Professor Lu from the Capital Foreign Studies University? Professor Lu didn't know what was going on. He didn't expect Chen Guang to have an ulterior motive. He smiled and nodded. That's me. You are? Chen Guang grinned. It doesn't matter who I am. But Professor Lu God is watching. What you did today was a bit inappropriate. Professor Lu's face stiffened. It was obvious that he had a guilty conscience, but he didn't want to give it away easily. He just looked at Chen Guang with an uneasy expression and asked, "What is the meaning of this?" Therefore, sometimes a woman's gender really had an advantage. If Chen Guang was in his normal state, as a young man, Professor Lu might have jumped up and fought Chen Guang to the death. It was a shameful thing to say, but a beautiful woman always had an advantage. Professor Lu was angry, but he still maintained his basic demeanor. Bai Hua was also a little confused by Chen Guang's sudden attack. He turned to look at Lin Jingwei, who was standing behind Chen Guang, with a face full of doubt. For the sake of Lin Jingwei, he endured it. Standing behind Chen Guang, Lin Jingwei violently coughed to signal Chen Guang to restrain himself. Although Chen Guang's voice has changed for some reason, he doesn't believe that Chen Guang knows Arabic. "Stop messing around. Can't we just swap a leopard cat for a crown prince and run away?" Chen Guang reluctantly grinned. He didn't dare to smile too widely, lest the powder on his face fall off. He immediately said in very fluent Arabic, "There is no problem with the accuracy of your translation just now, but there are some words that are very problematic. Am I right?" Chen Guang's Arabic was extremely fluent, and most importantly, his choice of words was extremely appropriate. It didn't seem like he was speaking a foreign language. On the contrary, it sounded like a noble sheik. Professor Lu's face instantly changed. He really didn't expect to meet such a powerful colleague here. However, he was an experienced man after all. He had done it discreetly. Even if there was a recording of the meeting, if someone really tracked it down, his very obscure words could be said to be within the scope of a normal translation. He forced himself to calm down. Bai Hua was very smart. Although he didn't understand what Chen Guang was saying, he heard people talking Arabic for most of the day. He didn't need to understand the meaning to know that Chen Guang was speaking Arabic. He then recalled Chen Guang's questioning of Professor Lu, and his heart suddenly became vigilant. Although today was the first time he met Miss Chen Yu, since she was a friend that Lin Jingwei was willing to bring to his company, Bai Hua was certainly more willing to believe Chen Yu. "Don't slander me. You're just a half-baked idiot. Don't think that you can question the work of a professional translator, just because you've learned a little." When Bai Hua began to frown, Professor Lu became anxious. He forcibly suppressed his anger, and put on an expression, as if he had been greatly wronged. In the face of the enraged Professor Lu, Chen Guang still spoke in a very calm tone. "Don't you know best whether or not I'm slandering you?" After that, he turned his head and nodded slightly at Bai Hua. "Wasn't there a recording of the whole meeting just now? If Professor Lu thinks that I'm slandering him, you can play the recording now, and I'll help you explain it word for word." "Play the recording then. I'm not afraid of you." At this point, Professor Lu could not back down. He couldn't show any signs of backing down at this time. Otherwise, it would really look like he was guilty. Of course, he was not afraid. He felt that with his knowledge of Arabic, he could completely say that all the controversial translation terms were in the category of flexible words. He didn't believe that a random young man could really defeat him in his field of expertise. Bai Hua was also swift and decisive. He was not in a hurry to embarrass Professor Lu. After all, Professor Lu was introduced by another vice president of the company, so he had to give him face. The group of people rushed back to the conference room and directly played the recording of the meeting on the projector. Professor Lu glared at Chen Guang fiercely. "Although I don't know which school you graduated from, I won't let you off the hook for deliberately slandering me today." Chen Guang was still calm. "I hope you can still be this confident in 10 minutes. At this time, Lin Jingwei's mind was no longer in a mess. Although he didn't know what Brother Guang had done wrong, since he had already done it, as a brother, he had to risk his life to accompany him. "Stop here." 5 minutes later, Chen Guang said, then looked at Professor Lu. "Professor Lu, in this translation, you translated the Aolan representative's words as our company is very influential in the Ivory Bay area. You translated the other 2 representatives' words as more influential. Isn't your choice of words a bit biased?" Professor Lu raised his head confidently. "Why don't you listen to both sides again? Think about it with your brain." The three representatives used different particles, so of course, the translation should be different. Chen Guang snorted. Although that's what you said, you have to follow the basic meaning of the other party. The representatives of these three companies are from different regions. Although it seems that they use different words, in fact, the meaning they want to express is completely the same. It's like when people in our country say that they are very tired today. They might be saying that they are very tired today, but the people in Sichuan province say that they are very tired today. The pronunciation of the two sounds very different to the ears of foreigners, but the meaning is completely the same. You're still quibbling. How am I quibbling? This is the normal range of translation. Do you even know how to translate? Professor Lu began to use his seniority to pressure people. I have been a professional translator for 30 years. What right do you have to question my professional ability? I'm not questioning your ability, thank you. I'm questioning your character. Okay, let's say that your place is in the normal range. Then let's continue. Here. As Chen Guang picked out one place after another, he even gave an academic explanation of the language habits of one of the representatives. Professor Lu became more and more desperate. Chen Guang pressed forward step by step. Professor Lu could not move an inch. Chen Guang was reasonable. Professor Lu's face was ashen. From the beginning, the confrontation between the two sides was not on the same level. The Arabic that Chen Guang mastered was not only common in the world, he even had different dialects in his mind. No matter how good Professor Lu was, he was only a mortal. How could he be compared to him? Bang! Finally, Chen Guang slammed the table and said conclusively, in conclusion, Professor Lu, I have reason to think that the words you used in at least a dozen places are very questionable. You are clearly biased towards Aolan Company. Even some of the places that seem to be belittling Aolan Company and elevating the other two companies are deliberately exaggerated, further reducing CEO Bai's trust in those two companies. Once or twice is a coincidence, but what about 10 or 20 times? Is it still a coincidence? It's undeniable that Professor Lu's level is really high. If I didn't expose you on the spot, I'm afraid that even if CEO Bai consulted other experts in the country with today's meeting minutes, he would not be able to completely discover your little tricks. If I didn't see with my own eyes how you interfered with CEO Bai's thoughts, I'm afraid even I would have been fooled by you. But unfortunately, I happen to be here today. You're unlucky. Professor Lu sat down on his chair, his face pale, and his mind was a mess. He did not look like an experienced person at all. The second translator next to him was not much better. He was so scared that his lips turned blue. He was not bribed. But during the entire meeting, he did not hear Professor Lu's little tricks at all. Bai Hua's face was completely gloomy. If Miss Chen Yu did not expose him on the spot, he would have been tricked by Professor Lu. These little traps hidden throughout the entire meeting seemed inconspicuous, but in fact, they were very subtle. It was really scary to think about it. The more talented a person was, the more they could not tolerate being fooled. Bai Hua came from a rich and powerful family, and his usual elegance was a disguise to hide his fangs. Now that he was really angry, there was a murderous aura between his brows. Professor Lu. As soon as Bai Hua opened his mouth, Professor Lu fell to his knees. CEO Bai, please listen to my explanation. This matter is not like this. Chapter 523. Alright, you can leave now. On behalf of the Tianjin Group, I would like to thank you for your help today. I will definitely repay you in the future. Bai Hua waved his hand impatiently, and a strong security guard, who was already on standby at the door, came in and carried Professor Lu out. As for how Bai Hua would deal with Professor Lu and the vice president behind him, it was not something that Chen Guang needed to worry about. Bai Hua would also not say it on such an occasion. Thank you, Miss Chen Yu, for helping me. Otherwise, I would have been in big trouble today. Jingwei, you really brought me an amazing person. Bai Hua had a strong emotional control. As soon as Professor Lu was taken away, he quickly put on a smile and thanked Chen Guang. Chen Yu, your sister. Miss your face. Chen Guang's mouth twitched. Every time he heard the two words Chen Yu, He had the urge to kill someone. CEO Bai, you're welcome. It's what I should do. After the matter was settled, Chen Guang decisively became a man of few words. Even he felt uncomfortable with that annoying voice of hers. Bai Hua, on the other hand, admired Chen Yu's style. When it came to business, she was domineering, clear, and aggressive. Usually, she was a man of few words, which added a sense of coldness to her. What Bai Hua admired even more was the amazing Arabic language skills displayed by Chen Yu. She had returned from a foreign business school. She was clear-headed, principled, bold, and careful. She had the gift of the gab, but she was not talkative. You have such a good Arabic language foundation. The more Bai Hua looked at Chen Yu, the happier he was. This amazing talent, this supermodel temperament. Are you an angel sent by God to help me? Brother Bai's calm eyes hid a hint of passion, which immediately made Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei's hearts jump. The two of them began to panic. Stop it. Big brother, don't make it big. The three of them returned to Bai Hua's office. This time, Song Ting was not there, but Bai Hua, who was even more difficult to deal with, was there. Chen Guang was even thinking of knocking Bai Hua out. That grandson, Lin Jingwei's ability to act according to circumstances was completely useless. From time to time, Lin Jingwei would feel goosebumps all over his body. He could imagine that Brother Guang would definitely chop him into pieces if he didn't succeed today. He looked at Bai Hua with a dumbfounded expression. What could he do to get Brother Xiao Bai and himself to leave the office and leave Brother Guang here alone? I don't want this day next year to be my death anniversary. Jingwei, you and Miss Chen Yu have helped me a lot today. I'll be free in half an hour. I'll bring you around the company first, and then we'll go for afternoon tea? Bai Hua and Lin Jingwei exchanged a few words, then turned around and asked. Chen Guang was already cursing in his heart. Who the hell wants to have afternoon tea with you? I just want to pour laxatives into your stomach and make you squat in the toilet for half an hour, okay? At this time, Lin Jingwei suddenly felt Bai Hua quietly poking his waist. Lin Jingwei was at a loss. He first looked at Chen Guang, who was pretending to be bored to death, and then turned to look at Bai Hua in confusion. Bai Hua winked at Lin Jingwei. Lin Jingwei was afraid and at a loss. Brother Xiao Bai, what's with that lecherous look? Don't scare me, I beg you, don't scare me. What is it? Lin Jingwei had no choice but to lower his voice and cooperate with Bai Hua's sneaky behavior. Bai Hua wasn't in a hurry to answer him. Instead, he took a document from his desk and stuffed it into Chen Guang's hands. He said, Miss Chen Yu, this is the corporate information of the Tianjin Group. Since you want to understand our domestic company, take a look at the information first. I'll take you to the various departments later. Chen Guang took the document with a cold expression. He looked like a supermodel, but he was afraid that he would vomit if he spoke too much. Come with me for a moment. Bai Hua saw Chen Guang looking down at the document, so he quickly turned around and turned his back to Chen Guang. He desperately mouthed to Lin Jingwei. Lin Jingwei's mouth was wide open. Brother Xiao Bai seemed to want me to find a reason to leave Brother Guang alone in the office and go out to talk to him? That's possible. But here's the problem. What do you want to talk to me about? You're deliberately hiding it from Sister Yu. You're acting like a thief. It gives me the creeps. Forget it, this is an opportunity. Lin Jingwei nodded. Bai Hua understood tacitly and excused himself to Chen Guang. Miss Chen Yu, please take a seat. I'm going out for a while. As he walked out, he winked at Lin Jingwei and gave Chen Guang an apologetic look. Chen Guang felt goosebumps all over his body from Lin Jingwei's gaze, while Lin Jingwei exchanged a glance with Bai Hua, showing that he understood what Lin Jingwei meant. After Bai Hua closed the door, Chen Guang cast a puzzled look at Lin Jingwei. Lin Jingwei met his eyes, then his eyes drifted to the glass display case. He clenched his fists and made a cheering gesture. Ouch, my stomach is a little uncomfortable. Sister Yu, I'm going to the bathroom. You can sit by yourself. At that moment, Lin Jingwei felt that he had reached the peak of acting in his life. He was truly an invincible two-faced actor. Although Chen Guang didn't know why Lin Jingwei and Bai Hua were acting so strangely, he still met Lin Jingwei's eyes. His gaze was firm. Everything was said without words. You go, leave it to me. As soon as Lin Jingwei walked out, Bai Hua, who had been hiding nearby, closed the door with lightning speed. He pulled Lin Jingwei and said, "Come with me. I have something to ask you." Lin Jingwei was so scared that his face turned pale. He began to pray in his heart. "Please don't let it be like what I'm worried about. I'll just deal with it when it comes. What will come will come. I can't stop it, so I'll just stall for time." Lin Jingwei's pace was extremely slow, but Bai Hua was very anxious. He pulled Lin Jingwei again. "Don't dilly-dally. Walk further. It won't be good to keep Miss Chinyu waiting for too long." "What's the matter, Brother Bai? Just say it. I'm not used to your bashful look." Lin Jingwei was dragged into a small meeting room by Bai Hua. Bai Hua even closed the door like a thief. "Then I'll be straightforward. We brothers won't say anything else. Let me ask you, where did you find Chinyu?" Lin Jingwei shrank his neck. "Brother Bai, what are you trying to do? I'm just bringing Sister Yu for a walk. Don't cause trouble. Go to hell. What kind of person do you think I am? It's not like you don't know that I only like Shiryu. It's like this. I think Miss Chinyu is a rare talent. Didn't you say that she wants to return to work? I'm just right for her. Look, Tianjing's platform isn't small. I'm mainly in charge of the Middle East business. Her specialization is perfect. You didn't bring her here on purpose to send her to me, right?" On the contrary, it was Bai Hua's turn to be confused. Lin Jingwei stared at Bai Hua for a long time. He couldn't calm down for a long time. "Who the hell wanted to send someone to you? How the hell would I know that Brother Guang would suddenly speak Arabic? He didn't tell me about this before. But even I was tricked by him. And if I really wanted to send someone to you, I can't bring your love rival. I'd better dress up as a supermodel." However, Lin Jingwei was slightly relieved. It turned out that Brother Bai was only interested in talent and not beauty. Although it was quite deceptive, it was still acceptable. "Don't daydream. Which university did she graduate from in North America? As long as she has a bachelor's degree, I'll immediately make her my assistant. She'll be on the same level as Song Ting. What do you think?" Bai Hua continued. "I can't explain it to you clearly. I value her not only because she knows Arabic. Just now, when she exposed Miss Liu, it's really not something an ordinary person can do. Although she seems to like wearing heavy makeup, which I don't really agree with. She's a girl. Everyone loves beauty. I understand. You even prepared a position for her. You can even tolerate the heavy makeup that you hate the most." Lin Jingwei sucked in a breath of cold air and shook his head violently. No. I can't. I really can't. Sister Yu's family situation is very complicated. She won't work for others. How can it be more complicated than our family situation? Have you really forgotten who you are after hiding your identity and studying in the 5 capitals for so long? Besides, Tianjin Group's platform isn't bad. She can totally give it a try. If one day she wants to start her own business, I can't stop her just because of you, right? She has such a good platform to familiarize herself with the local environment right after returning to China. This kind of good thing can't be found anywhere, right?" Lin Jingwei stared at Bai Hua. If the person who came today was Brother Guang and not Sister Yu, he would have really been convinced by Bai Hua. "Forget it. I knew you couldn't be relied on. I'll go ask and see what she wants." "Brother Bai, wait a minute." Seeing Bai Hua turn around to go back to the office, Lin Jingwei struggled to call out. Bai Hua didn't even turn his head. "I can't wait. What's the most important thing in the 21st century? Talent." As soon as Lin Jingwei and Bai Hua left the office, Chen Guang immediately went to the glass display cabinet and quickly entered the password to open it. At the same time, he took out a Patek Philippe watch from his pocket, intending to replace the beam with the column. At that moment, he just wanted to get the watch in his hands as fast as possible and leave immediately. Then, he would find a restroom in a nearby cafe to wash his face. 313626. Bai Hua's parents' birthday is on the right day. The screen of the lock said, "Loading. Faster, just a little faster." Chen Guang stared at the lock and thought to himself, "Damn it, is there something wrong with this cabinet? It's already been a minute, and you're still loading. Are you crazy? How could such a big company buy a fake lock? President Bai, with your wealth, do you really need to save money in this kind of place?" As the saying goes, when it rains, it pours. It wasn't easy for Bai Hua to give him a chance, but he was tricked by this stupid lock. Chen Guang also burst into tears. He hadn't looked at the almanac when he left home this morning, so it must have said, E-residence, theft prohibited. Rebooting. Damn you. Chapter 524. I'll remember you. South Korea's 3 lives password lock. Tonight, I'll trash your lousy company on Weibo. If one was unlucky, even water would get stuck in one's teeth. After paying such a huge price, how could Chen Guang be willing to lose to a system lag? Bai Hua and Lin Jingwei were in danger of coming back at any time. When the reboot was complete, Chen Guang quickly entered the password for the second time. He waited for another 10 seconds, and finally, with a click, the password was correct, and the lock was unlocked. Chen Guang's hands were so fast that it was dazzling. He opened the door, grabbed the limited edition Patek Philippe, scooped it up, and stuffed it into his trouser pocket. His other hand quickly put the other watch in, and with a flick of his fingers, everything was restored to its original state. Chen Guang let out a long breath, and checked that his arrangement was exactly the same as before. He was about to close the glass cabinet door again. Suddenly, the office door opened with a click. It was Bai Hua and Lin Jingwei behind him. Bai Hua looked up and saw Chen Guang's hand on the glass cabinet door. It seemed like he was about to close it. Lin Jingwei's eyes were as big as a cow's, and he complained in his heart. What should I do now? Brother Guang, can you be any more cruel? It took at least 2 minutes. How are you going to finish? How can we explain this? Chen Guang's brain was stuck for a moment. He first looked at Bai Hua, and then at the ashen-faced Lin Jingwei. Time seemed to stop at this moment, and even the sky became gloomy. It felt like the moment before the end of the world. Bai Hua looked at the dumbfounded Chen Guang, and then looked at the password lock. Question marks rained down on his heart. What's going on? This is a password lock. How did it open by itself? In this situation, if it was any other young lad with a slightly weaker mental state, he would probably be dumbfounded on the spot and give himself away. However, the person here was the great Right Chen, who had lived for over 100 years in the Sea of Transient. Such a small scene was nothing to me. Chen Guang shook his head gently, his wig fluttering in the wind. He smiled charmingly. CEO Bai, you have a wide range of interests. These 3 transformers are limited editions, and they're all out of print. I'm so jealous. As he spoke, Chen Guang continued to smile, and pointed to the 3 transformers models next to Patek Philippe, and lied through his teeth. In fact, he didn't know whether this toy was valuable or not, and whether it was out of print. But at this time, if he did not find a reason to change the topic, he really did not know what to say. Haha, Bai Hua's mouth twitched. Big sis, that's not the main point, okay? The point is, why the hell is my combination lock open? Oh right, you were too careless. Don't buy such a crappy lock next time. Just now, it mysteriously opened by itself. I don't even know what happened. Chen Guang shrugged and continued to act innocent. To be honest, his acting was terrible. From start to finish, there was a strong sense of incongruity that made people unable to look at him directly. Even Lin Jingwei couldn't bear to watch it. Brother Guang, you must be insulting Brother Bai's intelligence. You're lying through your teeth. You don't even believe me. You're one of us, okay? Lioli, are you still online? Big sis, it's a life and death situation that requires your help again. Can you give me a response? Otherwise, the old man might just jump off a building. The air was filled with an awkward atmosphere. Chen Guang could no longer maintain the calm expression on his face. That's right. Every time there was such a desperate situation, it was time for the omnipotent Lioli to appear. No way. I've already used my divine power to change your voice. If I waste any more divine power, the bikini I'm wearing will go to waste again. You better pray for your own good fortune. Lioli replied in Chen Guang's mind. Then let's meet again in the next life. This is the 33rd floor. If I jump off from here, you'll definitely be able to keep my body intact. Lioli, I'm your most loyal savior. I'll devote my limited life to the great cause of saving the Emperor God. You can't leave me in the lurch. You're the most merciful and beautiful emperor god. Today, Chen Guang had a set of mature plans to deal with Liuli. To put it simply, it was shameless, unreasonable, threatening and flattering. Liuli hesitated for a moment, but in the end, her heart softened. Alas, I'm afraid of you. Just don't do it again. Look into the eyes of this young man in a white suit. Okay. There was no time to ask Liuli what she was going to do. Chen Guang chose to trust her completely. He decisively raised his head and stared at Bai Hua with a pair of seductive eyes. Lin Jingwei's whole body trembled. Could it be that Brother Guang was going to use the lost secret of Jianghu, the beauty trap? Goosebumps sprang up all over Lin Jingwei's body like mushrooms after the rain. He couldn't help but shed 2 lines of desolate tears. Brother Guang, it's been hard on you. It really hasn't been easy. Bai Hua was also very confused. He didn't know what this Miss Chen Yu, who had just helped him a lot, meant. Suddenly he felt dizzy, and his eyes became misty. In his eyes, the tall supermodel suddenly became extraordinarily beautiful. His heartbeat gradually sped up, and his face gradually became rosy. Chen Guang saw the change in Bai Hua and was shocked. This scene was so familiar, as if he had seen it before. Many years ago, oh no, it was only 3 or 4 months ago, Wu Tong had fallen for this trick. Grenade-throwing Lu, could it be that Liuli? It's just as you imagined. This emperor used an emotional control technique on your cheap sister Wu Tong. Why didn't you hypnotize her? Because it's more fun this way. Fuck. Hearing those words, Chen Guang's face turned pale. Even now, Wu Tong still hasn't gotten rid of the emotional control. On the contrary, she even fell deeper into it. Fine, he wasn't a decent person in this matter, but the problem was serious. But today, the old man was Chen Yu, and the brother Bai in front of me was a man. Unfortunately, it was too late for him to regret. Bai Hua's face was red, but he suddenly smiled. Miss Chen Yu, you're right. This lock is indeed faulty. I'll have someone take care of it later. As he spoke, he walked forward and tried to grab Chen Guang's hand. Chen Guang immediately took a small step back to avoid Bai Hua's perverted hand. However, Bai Hua wasn't annoyed at all. On the contrary, he calmly closed the glass cabinet and said, If Miss Chen Yu likes these limited edition transformers, I'll give them to you after we visit the company. Lin Jingwei was shocked by the scene in front of him. He couldn't think straight. Brother Bai has become retarded. How can you believe such a stupid reason? How bad was the password lock in your house to be able to open it without a sound? Even a fool can't believe it, okay? On the other side, Chen Guang had already gotten the watch. He only wanted to run away. He didn't really have the mood to visit the company. He pretended to look down at his phone in a panic. It's already past 4 in the afternoon. I'm sorry. I'm in a hurry to have a beauty appointment with a friend. I'll visit Director Bai another day. After speaking, Chen Guang tilted his head and walked out quickly. It was better to run first. Lin Jingwei was shocked once again. Big brother, aren't you a little too stiff to run away without saying a word? With Brother Bai's amazing intelligence, he must know something was wrong, okay? It's fine. Miss Chen Yu, I'll see you another day. I'll send you off. Bai Hua said. Puffed. He really believed it. Lin Jingwei watched the scene from the beginning to the end. It was inexplicably strange. His outlook on life had already suffered a terrible blow. Jingwei, hurry up. On the other side, Chen Guang had already taken a rather manly stride towards the main entrance of the Tianjin Group's headquarters. Bai Hua hurriedly pulled Lin Jingwei to keep up. Lin Jingwei was dragged forward by Bai Hua like a walking corpse. His heart was filled with endless regret. How could I stand you guys? How could I face Uncle Bai and Auntie Bai? I'm the one who harmed Brother Bai. Jingwei, congratulate me. Bai Hua whispered into Lin Jingwei's ear, as he pushed Lin Jingwei to catch up with Chen Guang. Brother Bai, what's wrong? Lin Jingwei's heart was rekindled with the last trace of hope. I've finally walked out of Shiryua's shadow. I've thought it through. What should be mine is mine. What shouldn't be mine, I can't force it. Shiryua is soft on the outside but hard on the inside. She's a stubborn woman. Since she likes that Chen Guang, I can only accept my fate even if I'm not willing. But I have to look forward, my life has to continue. And then, I thought that I would never be moved by any woman in my life. Maybe when I'm in my 30s, my family will force me to marry someone, and I'll just muddle along for the rest of my life. But today I'm moved. Do you know? I like her. Chinyu, what a beautiful name. She's the most perfect woman I've ever met. I happen to be in charge of the Arabian region now. In the future, I can be her husband and wife. Meeting her is the blessing of 3 lifetimes. I know I can't be rude to a beauty, but I'm serious. She and I are a match made in heaven. Jingwei, you have to help me, you have to help me. Lin Jingwei staggered and nearly fell to the ground. He turned his head and looked at Bai Hua's face in despair. At this moment, Bai Hua was looking at Chen Guang's back with deep affection. It's over. Brother Xiaobai's life and his entire world were ruined. Even when the 2 of them escaped from the Tianjing building, Lin Jingwei still hadn't recovered from the shock he received today. Chen Guang plunged into the cubicle toilet of a high-end cafe and removed his makeup. He wasn't very professional, so he used all kinds of paste and makeup remover. He rubbed his face with all his might. He removed his makeup thoroughly, but there were red marks all over his face, making him look like a mess. He held onto the wall and walked out, holding the wig in his hand. Lin Jingwei looked at him anxiously. Chen Guang pushed his hand away and said in a voice that had recovered, "Don't talk first. Let me vomit for half an hour." Blurg, Lin Jingwei also held onto the wall. "Let's vomit together." After a long while, the 2 of them regained their senses. Chen Guang shook his head. "That's too scary. This is 2F** King scary." He looked down at the sparkling and beautiful Patek Philippe in his hand, tears streaming down his face. "It's really hard to get. For you, the old man has paid a heavy price." Lin Jingwei looked at him quietly. "Brother Guang, were you an angel with broken wings in your past life? You're really poisonous. How am I going to explain this to Brother Bai's parents? Ah, we've messed up. F***ck, you're blaming me? It's not your bad idea. You snatched away Jin Shiyue, who Brother Bai likes. And it's not enough that you didn't even let him off. Let me tell you another piece of unfortunate news. Previously, after you and Bai Hua went out, Secretary Song also asked for my number. Based on the old man's foolish opinion, she also likes me. F***ck, are you a devil entering the village? You're going to sweep Brother Bai clean from head to toe. You're ruthless, not sparing even a chicken or a dog. Can't you leave a way out for him? Lin Jingwei scolded and suddenly came to his senses. He jumped back and kept repeating, "Gaoya, I like you. Gaoya, I love you. Gaoya, I can't let you down." What are you doing? You're a walking seduction machine. You're too scary. You kill both men and women. You don't even let gays and women off. I'm afraid I'll be hurt by your charm. I, Lin Jingwei, swear here that I'll never be gay in this lifetime. Chapter 525. In any case, after a busy day, he finally got the watch back. Although the process was full of twists and turns, the result was always gratifying. As for Bai Hua being tricked and falling in love with a Chinyu that didn't even exist, Master Guang expressed that he was powerless to help. If you want to blame someone, blame your childhood friend, Lin Jingwei. It was his idea. To be honest, this might be the world's most drastic way to eliminate a rival in love. How do you make your rival in love no longer a threat to you? No matter how strong his background is, how powerful his backer is, or how monstrous his brain is, it's all for nothing. Master Guang will personally make him fall in love with you. He won't have time to steal your woman. Originally, he had planned to transfer 1.4 million to Bai Hua to repay the favor. After all, the regular Patek Philippe was only worth 600,000, which was far less than a third of the real value of the limited edition. However, Lin Jingwei stopped him. The reason was simple. They had stolen his watch, but he hadn't realized it yet. It seemed like Bai Hua didn't have the habit of wearing the watch either. Perhaps the leopard cat would be locked in the cabinet for the rest of its life. This result would be very harmonious. But you can't just turn around and give him money. That would make him suspicious. Moreover, didn't you just help someone uncover a translator's conspiracy? Just based on this, you could at least help Tianjin Group avoid hundreds of millions of losses. He would owe you an ocean of favors. Remember this. Only you, me, and big sister Hua will know about this. If you dare to speak of this matter, I'll strip you naked and hang you on a building." When the two of them split up, Chen Guang instructed Lin Jingwei with concern. Lin Jingwei patted his chest. "Nonsense, I was going to brag about it. But now Brother Bai has been cheated so badly. Who knows, he might even pester me every day to find his dream lover, Miss Chinyu. I'm even more panicked than you, okay?" "Damn, stop saying Chinyu. I want to vomit again." "Me too." When he returned to the hotel, Chen Guang played around with the Patek Philippe that could cover an entire suite while reading the news on Weibo. He suddenly saw a street photo and wanted to vomit blood. Supermodels among the people, tall and slender beauties unexpectedly appear on the streets of Beijing. What the hell? Who took this? Isn't that me? Little Linny, that idiot? After staring at it for a while, Chen Guang was disgusted by the two front and side shots of him on the screen. However, he also ruled out Lin Jingwei as a suspect. It was obvious that someone had taken this photo somewhere else with a DSLR. It was a photo of him and Lin Jingwei fleeing in panic from the Tianjin building. In the photo, it was him grabbing onto Lin Jingwei's collar and fleeing in a hurry. It had to be said that this fellow's portrait skills weren't just average. Chen Guang felt that he was fleeing in panic, but under this fellow's lens, he actually gave off a valiant and domineering feeling. He clicked on the class group chat anxiously. Sure enough, Bai Nyangzi, who had nothing better to do besides writing and surfing the internet, had already forwarded this news to the class group chat. The onlookers were calm, but Gaoya was furious. "Gaoya, Lin Jingwei, tell me clearly, who is this person?" Lin Jingwei, "Gaoya, you won't tell me, right?" Lin Jingwei sent a crying emoji. "My dear little Ya, I can swear to God that there's nothing going on between us. Even if I have to sleep with a pig, there's nothing going on between me and this woman. But I really can't tell you who she is. I really can't. Please believe me." Chen Guang quietly closed the class group chat. He felt sorry for Gaoya, Lin Jingwei, and himself for 30 seconds. It was the most embarrassing misunderstanding in history. Right at this moment, a voice resounded from Chen Guang's back. "You're that beauty, right? My brother Chen Guang." Chen Guang looked back and saw that the little lowly, Xan Qin, was standing behind him. "Damn it! It's not me." Xan Qin smiled faintly and held up 3 fingers. "First of all, your clothes are exactly the same as in the photo. Second, your height is exactly the same as the person in the photo. Finally, your hands are different from others. No one can copy or imitate them. Don't ask me why I know your hands are special. It's because I'm a big fan of the darts master, Miss Chen." Chen Guang's mouth was wide open, but he couldn't refute. "You really surprised me. Cross-dressing fetish, hee. Xan Qin said calmly. Chen Guang covered his face. "No, it's not what you think. It's okay, brother Chen Guang. A genius must have something special. I understand. My master always comforts me like this. It's better this way. My master will be more relieved to let me stay with you." As she spoke, Xan Qin suddenly revealed a look of relief. A shadow flashed by outside the window. Chen Guang turned to look. My master left. Is your master a voyeur?" "No. She's just worried about you. She's relieved now." "Yes. Cross-dressing makes her think you're safe." "Pia." Chen Guang slapped himself. "I'd rather she think I'm dangerous." "Okay, I'll stop joking with you. There's a lot of bad news on the internet today," Xan Qin said as she took out a tablet and put it in front of Chen Guang. Chen Guang took it suspiciously and mumbled, "What news?" 30 seconds later he blew up. F***ck them. It's fine if they're not convinced, because they're not as good as me. How dare they go online to flaming me? International Anti-Unfair Competition Alliance? They must be sick in the head. Chen Guang was talking about the international contestants that fled with their tails between their legs. They had suffered yesterday, and they were clearly unwilling to accept it. They didn't dare to cause a ruckus when they were in the wrong, but they couldn't control their mouths afterward. The Englishman Bant Wilkins, who had always prided himself on being a gentleman, was the first to open fire on his Twitter account. He said that China was no longer the country of etiquette in the past, but had become an unreasonable country, where the officials and players brazenly cheated, and there was no room for doubt. Papalika, Helvede, Wokin, and the others followed closely behind, saying that they had personally witnessed a shameful scam in Wuxia. The Wuxia people had turned the fair and just darts sport into a funny magic show. Furthermore, after they raised their doubts, they were treated unfairly by the Wuxia officials and almost got themselves hurt. A group of internationally famous players fired at the same time, causing a huge impact on the international scene. None of these players were nobodies. On the contrary, they all had many fans. Although darts was a relatively small sport, it was precisely because of this that the fans and enthusiasts of the sport felt that it was noble. Hearing that China had used the power of a country to tarnish their hobby, the international enthusiasts naturally followed suit. Truth be told, anyone with a normal brain would know that it's impossible for Chen Guang to rely on cheating to crush everyone if they watched the videos he posted in the past. However, it was precisely this principle. When there were too many people scolding someone, even the person being scolded would start to doubt their own life, not to mention other bystanders. Even some of the Chinese fans had the following theories. Could it be that brother all-rounder cheated in darts? Previous posters: mother exploding, hearse drifting, ashes mixed with rice, and disco dancing at the grave. F*CK, why are you scolding people? Idiot fan, F*King troll. One fan is more than 10. Wilkins and the others had been famous for a long time. They were all famous people. They couldn't just shamelessly slander the domestic players. You don't know darts at all. You're trying to hide something. There might be a reason for it. Alright? Can't you use your brain to look at this? Don't blindly worship him, alright? Can you use your own judgment? Idiot. At #yen at %%. The two sides entered their daily rhythm of scolding. If the domestic fans were already like this, it was needless to say that the international fans were using all sorts of methods, including the most intense ones. The information that Xianqin had compiled on her tablet stated that at 10 o'clock that morning, the official website of the China Escort Association had been hacked. The homepage had been tampered with, and all the reports related to Chen Guang's competitions had disappeared from the server. After 11 o'clock, the personal website that had been set up for Chen Guang, the almighty Superman, had also collapsed. It was said that it had suffered an irrecoverable impact. After 3 o'clock, Chen Guang's personal Weibo account had been hacked, and a very dirty Weibo post was posted. The official Weibo company had reacted quickly and deleted the hacked Weibo post in a very short time. They had also taken the initiative to communicate with Mr. Chen's manager, Ms. Xian, to change the login password. They had also temporarily restricted the posting function of this account for protection purposes. But in the end, the almighty Superman account, which had 12 million live fans, had also been affected. What was even more infuriating was that Chen Guang hadn't even seen the extremely dirty Weibo post. Master Guang was furious. Shameless. You asked me to take the lead, but I didn't know the car plate number. Are you done? What do you want to say? Xianqin saw the veins on Chen Guang's neck bulging. She quietly snatched the tablet back and asked. Chen Guang laughed. I'm not angry. I'm not angry at all. If you hadn't crushed the TV remote control, I would have believed it. Alright, this group of B*cheese. They have successfully angered me. Then what are you going to do? Xianqin tilted her head and looked at Chen Guang. Chen Guang snorted. Tomorrow, I'll make them lose consciousness. I'll make them doubt their lives. I'll make them not dare to mention that they know how to play darts in front of others. Click. Very good. I've posted this video for you. Huh? Chen Guang picked up his phone and looked at it. He didn't know when Xianqin had also gotten the rights to use his Weibo account. He had already posted the latest news on it to international friends. This Weibo post was a long picture, summarizing the things that had happened on the internet from yesterday to today. Then it was a short video of 10 seconds or so. It started from Xianqin asking him what he planned to do, and ended with him telling them not to mention how to play darts. Obviously, Xianqin didn't just have a whim. She had planned it beforehand. Not bad. The angle of the video is pretty good. You're even more handsome than you look in the mirror. Chen Guang commented. In the face of doubts, Almighty Bro responded in a high-profile manner. It immediately made his fans' blood boil. Land of etiquette? Humble and low-key? Yes. The Chinese were indeed famous for their so-called traditional virtues in the past. But it's not that we don't fight back. We are a land of etiquette because all countries submit to us. We are humble and low-key because you all bow down to us. You all have already taken advantage of us. Being humble is the inferiority complex of the weak. If you have the strength, you have to show it openly. Jean Shuriyue, who reposted this Weibo post, said it best. A frog at the bottom of a well doesn't know the ambitions of a swan. I believe in my boyfriend. See you all at the concert tomorrow. Goddess Shuriyue's Weibo post contained a lot of information. The onlookers' emotions were unstable. Those who were familiar with Chen Guang's and Lefty's movements immediately made the connection. Almighty Bro was currently in Beijing, and Lefty was also about to hold a concert there. Could it be that this pair of rumored lovers, who only showed off their love on the internet, would be on the same stage for the first time in history? This was going to be big news. Chapter 526. The next morning, with a good mood, he cleaned himself up and whistled as he opened the hotel room door. Chen Guang strode out and headed for the World Championship. Just as he stepped out, he stepped on something soft. Looking down, Chen Guang rolled his eyes. The dignified captain of an unknown special forces team in Wujing, Comrade Xuelin, was lying in front of the hotel room door like a tramp, and his handsome and domineering foot was stepping on this young man's face. Are you crazy? Why are you sleeping so early in the morning? Chen Guang cursed as he pulled his foot back. The young man's face had a clear shoe print. Xuelin opened his eyes in a daze and rubbed his sleepy eyes. His brain gradually recovered, and when he saw that it was Chen Guang, he stood up with joy, not even knowing that there was a shoe print on his face. He said with a smile, "Brother Chen Guang, you're up? What are you doing?" Chen Guang was scared by this guy's image. He wondered if he had gone crazy from wanting to learn kung fu. "I arrived last night, but I was afraid to disturb your sleep, so I didn't dare knock. But I was afraid that when I woke up, you would go to the competition again, so I had to sleep here for the night," Xuelin said with a smile. She didn't take sleeping on the floor seriously at all. There were many more difficult situations than this when he was carrying out missions. After waiting for several months, Chen Guang finally relented and summoned him. Xuelin cherished this opportunity very much. Who is he? At this time, Xianqin, wearing a mask and sunglasses, walked over. She looked at Xuelin in military uniform and frowned. Xuelin also looked at Xianqin with a puzzled expression, but did not say anything. Chen Guangxian pretended to drink water to feel the faith value in the cup. He still had to save for 2 more days before he could reach 600,000. He didn't expect Xuelin to come so quickly and directly use her ultimate skill to block the door. Go and prepare for 2 days. I'll be quite busy today and tomorrow, and your current condition isn't up to my expectations. I'll call you when it's about time." Chen Guang decisively lied through his teeth to fool Xuelin. If he had known that this guy was in such a hurry, he would have waited until he had saved 600,000 yuan before calling him. Now it was a little embarrassing. Instead of being annoyed, Xuelin nodded excitedly. The more Chen Guang acted like this, the more he felt that Chen Guang attached great importance to this matter, and he was even more grateful. "Thank you, master. Don't call me master. My teeth ache." Chen Guang felt goosebumps all over his body when he heard him call him master. Xianqin looked Xuelin up and down with great interest. "Disciple?" Chen Guang waved his hand. "Not really. I just taught him a few moves. His aptitude is indeed not bad. Although he can't compare to you, he is much better than ordinary people." Xianqin commented. Xuelin was puzzled. Although this girl was wearing a mask and sunglasses, she was still a minor. How could she comment on her aptitude? "You're acting too mature." Chen Guang patted him on the shoulder and pointed at Xianqin with his big finger. "This is a real inner force master." Xuelin gasped. When he looked at Chen again, the look in his eyes changed. He thought to himself, Brother Chen Guang is really a crouching tiger and hidden dragon. No wonder this little girl spoke so maturely. She's a master. He abruptly bowed towards Chen and said, This junior greets Senior Tong. Crack. The phone in Chen's hand broke. Xuelin's eyelids twitched. So strong. He broke the phone with his bare hands. Chen Guang saw that the situation was not good. He hurriedly asked Xuelin to leave. You find a place to practice for 2 days. It's not easy to learn my unique skill. You must adjust your physical condition to the best, or your life will be in danger. Go. Xuelin was baffled, but since Chen Guang had asked him to leave, he would leave. Nodding his head towards the two of them, he immediately turned around and ran away with the swiftness of a soldier. Senior Tong. Looking at Xuelin's back, Chen gritted her teeth and said, Don't laugh. I'm not laughing. I'm really not laughing. Of course, Chen Guang couldn't laugh very soon, because he painfully found out that the phone that was crushed was his Popcorn 6S. Fortunately, he found a shopping mall that sold mobile phones. Chen Guang stopped the bus, rushed out, and bought a new phone in 5 minutes. Then he went to the venue while playing with the software. When he arrived, he painstakingly fixed the live broadcast software. When they arrived at the venue, Chen didn't rush to go in with Chen Guang. She didn't know where she went. Chen Guang didn't mind. Anyway, he was used to her unpredictability. He just played the live broadcast himself. Since the day before yesterday, unbeknownst to him, Brother Little Tsong had already started to promote his live stream on the internet. When Chen Guang started the live broadcast, millions of viewers rushed in at the speed of light. There were only a few who really liked darts. Most of them came for the almighty Superman himself. Chen Guang looked at the bullet screen and was happy. There were all kinds of people. Some asked him when he would participate in the racing competition. Some asked him when he would produce pencil carvings again. Some wanted to learn piano skills from him. There were even Dota players who asked him when he would do a live broadcast again. Of course, there were also his pure online fans. In short, whatever Brother Almighty did was good, and everyone liked it. Perhaps Chen Guang's livestream could be considered the most complicated place in the world. There were all sorts of people. And what's more miraculous was that everyone got along well with each other. Regardless of which style they liked, Chen Guang was unquestionably the strongest in the world in this field. Some fans joked, No matter what style you like, Brother Almighty will always have one that suits you. I don't know what everyone thinks, but I have a wide range of hobbies. I play games and love racing. I didn't know anything about darts before, but after watching it a lot these days, I've learned it. I think it's interesting too. Previously, I didn't understand why, but now I understand. In fact, I like to watch Brother Allrounder crush and bully others along the way. Bro, I wouldn't have thought of it if you didn't mention it. I think I'm the same. Recently, foreigners have been very arrogant. They'll definitely be unlucky in the World Championship. I wonder what Brother Almighty will play next, after winning the World Championship in darts? Did you guys realize that no matter what it is, as long as he makes a move, others can only accompany him in his studies? What the previous poster said makes sense. I like Brother Almighty's show-off in all fields. I bet 50 cents that Brother Almighty will show off his foreign language skills soon. It can't be. There are still many people in the world who know more than 10 foreign languages. Don't ask me why. It's intuition. A woman's intuition. What? There are actually female viewers. Deduct 1 for real sisters. Below, there were 10,000 comments deducting 1. Then, some sharp-eyed people noticed that Chen Guang had also deducted a 1. Oh, my Brother Almighty is so cheap. He's pretending to be his own female fan. Chen Guang chuckled and then sent a bullet screen. Everyone, remember to call me the guy with many female fans in the future. The competition is about to start, so I won't chat any longer. With just a simple chat, he easily tricked a bunch of gifts. Then he set the #1 fan of the week as the live broadcast manager. Then, he happily sat in the contestants area and waited for the competition to start. Hello, Mr. Chen. I'm Chu Hao. Previously, what I said online might have offended you. Please forgive me. Just as Chen Guang sat down, A chubby middle-aged man came up to him and said with a sincere expression. Chen Guang smiled and waved his hand. He did not mind. You're too kind. We're not familiar with each other. If we get to know each other better, there won't be any misunderstandings. It's just a small matter. Right, Mr. Chu, I'm doing a live broadcast here. Chu Hao heard that and reacted quickly. That's a good feeling. Mr. Chen turned the camera to me. I want to become famous too. Hello everyone. I'm Chu Hao. I'm here to apologize to Mr. Chen. Please don't scold me on my Weibo in the future. I'm deeply remorseful. He was not spouting nonsense. Recently, many of Almighty Superman's fans had nothing better to do. They would go around the internet and trample on anyone who had a problem with Chen Guang online. Chu Hao Lianyu and the others did not escape. Zhang Tianming, who was even earlier, still had a bunch of people scolding him on Weibo. In the past 2 days, everyone had been busy climbing over the wall to spread Brother Almighty's prestige overseas. They had swept through the Twitter, Facebook, and other social media accounts of Wilkins, Papolica, and the others. Only then did Chu Hao and the others catch a breather. As the saying went, birds of a feather flock together. Chen Guang was not someone who was easy to deal with. Ever since his true identity was exposed and he had nowhere to hide, he simply threw away his mask. There was no such thing as enduring humiliation in his dictionary. If he was like that, the fans who liked him would not be too humble either. Chu Hao apologized to the nearly 2 million viewers in the live broadcast room. On the other side, Lian Yu also chuckled and came over to do the same. Unlike the foreigners who refused to admit defeat, domestic players like Chu Hao and Lian Yu had already communicated with Chen Xiaoxin clearly. They understood very well that even though there were 2 professional players participating in the tournament, the real protagonist could only be the big shark who had fought his way out of the amateur tournament. The huge competition venue was filled with a sea of people. Unlike the past few amateur tournaments where most of the audience came for Chen Guang's name, the tickets to the World Championship were expensive. Those who were willing to fork out real money to buy tickets to watch the competition were mostly the real darts enthusiasts in the country. Brothers, who do you support? Your question makes me unhappy. Of course it's Chen Guang. It's Brother Almighty. If we Chinese don't support our own players, are we supposed to support those snobbish foreigners? Didn't they say that Chen Guang could cheat? Stop it. Those are foreigners deliberately discrediting him. Alright, we have different goals. I'm afraid I'll lose my IQ if I talk too much with you. Hey, why are your words so unpleasant? It's not that my words are unpleasant, but you have to have your own judgment. Come, I'll introduce you to a Weibo account. You can follow it later and watch all the videos he posted before. Then you'll know how embarrassing it is to ask me these questions. At this time, the crowd of spectators was gradually filling up with people, and the content of the conversation was mostly like this. A bald man sat awkwardly in the crowd. He was the president of the Anti-Light Alliance. He had put in a lot of effort to buy a plane ticket to come to Yanjing with the intention of expanding his membership in this venue. Who would have thought that the audience around him were all knowledgeable? Not only did no one join him in discrediting Chen Guang, but they even praised him for his awesomeness. If not for the fact that I'm a loyal fan of Jin Shirihua, I would have been convinced by you. The Brother Guang gritted his teeth and howled in his heart. On the other side, Wilkins and a group of international players were blocking the Wuxia Escort Association, with the heads of their respective escort associations who had rushed over. They were demanding that all the players' equipment be changed at the last minute. They wanted to use the darts and dartboards designated by the World Escort Association. They were obviously questioning the entire Wuxia Escort Association, and even the staff of the World Escort Association, who were preparing for the World Championship. Wilkins, you're messing around. Old Zhao and a group of vice presidents of the Wuxia Escort Association argued. Mr. Zhao, we didn't tamper with the equipment. Even if we were to change the dartboards and dartboards designated by us, wouldn't it still have to go through your country's organizing committee's inspection? Our World Escort Association's judging team will not practice favoritism. What are you afraid of? Wilkins was determined. That's a separate matter. You're humiliating us. There's absolutely no problem with the equipment we provided. I don't agree to change it at the last minute. Old Zhao was indeed the hot-tempered one. He refused to budge in the face of the World Escort Association's aggressiveness. At that moment, Old Zhao's phone rang. He picked up the call, and within 2 sentences, Old Zhao's expression changed drastically. He hung up the phone with a bitter face. Liang Faocai asked him what happened. Old Zhao sighed. Our president called just now and said that the World Escort Association can do whatever they want. She only wants us to record the whole thing and wait until after the competition. Isn't that admitting defeat? Liang Faocai asked anxiously. Old Zhao shook his head. The president said that they can do whatever they want. Even if they tamper with the darts used in the competition, it won't affect Chen Guang's results. Ah. Chapter 527. Was he that awesome? Liang Faocai kept this question in his mind until Chen Guang was ready to go on stage. By then, Xanqin had returned. She had been playing the role of Chen Guang's assistant the entire time. As she watched Chen Guang check his equipment not far away, Liang Faocai asked Xanqin cautiously, Miss Xan, is Chen Guang going to be all right? Xanqin turned to look at him, her voice muffled through her mask. President Liang, what are you talking about? Liang Faocai was taken aback. He doesn't know about the last-minute change of equipment. Xanqin tilted her head. What does that have to do with anything? The result is the same anyway. Liang Faocai rolled his eyes. Why are all of you so calm? As if you have a stabilizing force in your stomachs. You're making it seem like I'm the only one who isn't calm. I'm embarrassed, all right? Their conversation had already been heard by more than 3 million viewers in the livestream room. The viewers were also amused. They all said that Chairman Liang was really good at acting cute. On the other side, Chen Guang had already checked all his equipment and nodded at the referee. I'm ready. The French referee looked at Chen Guang expressionlessly. Please move forward. However, Chen Guang smiled and shook his head. No need. Why? You want to withdraw from the competition? The French referee, who had been transferred in at the last minute, raised his eyebrows in disdain. The International Escort Service Association had already reached a consensus that they would not be so lowly as to tamper with the equipment. They were only certain that as long as the Chinese Escort Service Association was not given a chance to react, they would force them to switch to their darts and darts. This shameless cheater would not stand a chance at all. Chen Guang shook his head again. He said in perfect French, Of course not. I'm just too lazy to move forward. Didn't you all accuse me of cheating? It's impolite not to reciprocate. Then, I'll use your equipment and cheat for you all to see. At this time, Central TV Department 5, which had a viewership rating of over 5%, was broadcasting the World Championship live. Although it was working hours, and the number of viewers who could sit at home and watch TV did not exceed 20 to 30 million people, there were still more than 2 million people who were glued to their televisions and tuned to Central TV Department 5. Other than that, there were also more than 2 to 3 million people watching the live broadcast on Central TV's webcast. Perhaps the number of viewers watching the live broadcast overlapped with Chen Guang's own live broadcast. But at this moment, there were at least 5 million people watching this scene from all over the country. Internationally, all the major TV stations, especially those that had contestants from their own countries, were also broadcasting the entire competition live. Looking at it from all over the world, the live audience for this competition was more than 20 million people. In the Beijing Workers' Stadium, 5 kilometers away from the World Championship venue, Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage, who were rehearsing for their concert, ran backstage to watch TV during a break in the rehearsal. What is he doing? Wasn't it his turn to go up? Why is he standing there whispering to the referee? Jiang Yage was puzzled. Jin Shiyue did not understand either. I don't know either. Maybe he's being deliberately made difficult for. Not far away, the foreign contestants who had been watching Chen Guang started whispering to each other when they saw this. They were all very pleased with themselves. Who asked you to be so arrogant? Now that we've changed all our equipment, let's see how you can still cheat. At this moment, Chen Guang, who was standing at his original spot, suddenly moved. He picked up 3 darts at the same time, and then with a seemingly casual flick of his right hand, the 3 darts landed on the dartboard about 7 to 8 meters in front of him. All 3 darts hit the threefold zone of 20 points. Chen Guang shrugged and did not say anything more. He turned around and sat down. In front of the TV, and in the huge stadium, everyone who saw this scene was completely silent. In the past, he had always passed with 9 darts, and there were times when he had stood so far away. But this time, he threw 3 darts and stood so far away, and all of them hit the threefold zone of 20 points. Don't mess with us. How is this possible? Sitting at the bar, Chen Guang did not care how frightened the others were. He just turned to Chu Hao and said half-jokingly, "Sai, it's a pity that according to the rules, I can't throw 9 darts at once. I have to wait for someone else to throw around. What a waste of time." Chu Hao turned his face away, indicating that he did not want to talk to him at all. "This is impossible." Sitting on the other side, Papalika's face was pale, and his lips were trembling. Turning to look at him, Chen Guang spoke in Indian language. "Aside from saying that it's impossible, can you say anything else that's possible? My darts were provided by you guys." "What did you say to him just now?" Lian Yu came over and asked. Chen Guang chuckled. "I said that ever since these foreigners saw me, they would only say, 'Wow, this is impossible.' I protest. He cheated. But it's useless. I don't win the game with my mouth." Xianqin pointed her phone at Chen Guang and the others, and immediately recorded his words for the live broadcast. Isn't this a little too arrogant? Can we be a little more low-key?" The dignified president of the Dechuan branch, Comrade Liang Fatsai, had now completely become a waiter who served tea and water. Chen Guang shook his head indifferently. "There's no need to be low-key. Being low-key won't win the championship. Without the championship, there will be no respect. Since I can win, I can't be low-key anymore." 10 minutes later, he simply sat on the bar and did not get up. Once again, he threw 3 darts with one hand, and all of them hit the target perfectly. In the history of live broadcasting, there had never been such an incredible darts competition. If they did not see it with their own eyes, if they did not know that this was a live broadcast of the World Championship of Darts on a sports channel, the audience in front of the TV would have thought that they were watching a movie. But no matter how strange it seemed, no matter how unbelievable it was the truth. Thanks to the rules of the darts competition, it did indeed stipulate the distance of the nearest dart throw line. There were no rules for those who insisted on standing far away. Even in a formal competition like the World Championship, Chen Guang could stand as far away as he wanted as the rules allowed. Finally, the first round of preliminaries ended in torment. Next, the final 8 players would compete for the championship of this year's World Championship of Darts. Everything looked so harmonious. Chu Hao performed well, and successfully entered the finals as one of the top 3 in the preliminaries. However, from the beginning to the end, Chu Hao only cared about laughing. The expressions of those internationally renowned players, whom he could only look up to and felt that he could not surpass, were simply too interesting. Their faces alternated between green and white. Every time they were caught by the camera, they had to squeeze out an ugly smile. It was even worse than crying. They only wanted to withdraw from the competition now. They could not even shout out the slogan of fighting for their dignity. This was too much of a bully. For the first time, they seriously considered whether the darts competition should set a rule for the furthest distance to effectively prevent this man, named Chen Guang, from showing off. Under the recommendation of the crowd, Wilkins stood up once again and looked for the head judge of the organizing committee of the World Championship. He hoped that the head judge could persuade Chen Guang to end the competition normally and at least leave them with a little bit of dignity. Although the head judge was displeased with Wilkins and his group for forcefully changing the equipment, he also felt that they were too pitiful. So he tried to communicate with Chen Guang. "Mr. Chen, can you not sit at the bar and throw your darts in the finals later? Although I also think that they went overboard in doubting you, They have already received sufficient punishment. Chen Guang readily agreed. Yes, Mr. Judge. Mr. Wilkins, Mr. Chun has agreed. The head judge turned his head and said to Wilkins and his group, who were waiting anxiously. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone, as the head judge of the competition, there are some things that I do not want to say. However, if you had not questioned the work of the Wuxia organizing committee and the referees, and changed the equipment at the last minute, Chen Guang might not have been so overbearing. Look, he is still very easy to talk to. Bobalika's face turned red. Yes, sir. We will apologize to him after the competition. After a short break, the finals officially began. The international players immediately withdrew their thoughts of apologizing. Yes, Chen Guang was not at the bar anymore. He had gone to the spectator stand. Brother all-rounder, what are you doing here? Hasn't the competition started? Chen Guang sat among the crowd and smiled. It's fine. I'm just here to compete. He turned his head and saw Baldy. Yo, Baldy, you're here too. What a coincidence. The crowd was shocked. Previously, when they heard Baldy bragging about being the president of the Anti-Light Alliance, they did not pay attention to him. They did not expect Chen Guang to actually know him. Baldy rolled his eyes and cursed in his heart. I don't even want to talk to you. Let me introduce to everyone. This is the president of my first fan club, the Anti-Light Alliance. It is the only fan club that I have officially recognized. If everyone is interested, feel free to join. Oh right, Brother Baldy is a good person, but he is greedy and lustful. Everyone, please remember not to pay any membership fees or play any dirty tricks. Uft. The Anti-Light Alliance has never collected membership fees. Baldy was anxious. Oh, then as long as the ladies remember to be on guard against Brother Baldy. Other than his lustful nature, he is actually quite a good person. He did not know why, but every time he saw Baldy's disgusting expression, Chen Guang would feel happy. Mr. Chun, why are you on the spectator stand? It's your turn to compete. At this moment, the head judge finally came over. He felt like his head was about to explode. Didn't you promise me that you would not throw darts at the bar? Chen Guang nodded. Yes, that's why I ran to the spectator stand. The head judge felt like vomiting blood. Bro, you ran even further. Look, it's more than 30 meters from here to the dartboard. Without giving the head judge a chance to speak, Chen Guang's hand shook, and a dart shot out. It hit the 50th target in the center of the target, snatching first place in the first round of the finals. He is a B** starred. A complete B** starred. F***ck. I don't want to compete anymore. I want to quit. Walken was on the verge of breaking down. Why has no one ever told me that the Chinese are so good at darts? Could it be that the Chinese who competed with us in the past were just children? Wilkins' face was ashen. The TV broadcast accurately captured the group of international friends' expressions of despair, and the audience in front of the TV was immediately amused. Some of the foreign audience felt that it was unfair for their country's contestants. They felt that this Chinese was too much and too evil. However, there were even more people who liked Chen Guang's style. Since he was so capable, why did he have to keep a low profile? Although he was arrogant, he was not blindly conceited. That was because in his field, he really had no match. The famous underground racer, the leader of the North American modified car industry, Tommy Diesel, was watching the live broadcast on ESPN while he posted on his social media site. I saw many people saying that this Chinese is too arrogant. Even if he wins, they won't like him. I can only tell you that only the weak care about how many people like them. A true expert like him will not care about whether you like him or not. If you were lucky enough to compete with him like I was, you would understand that no matter where he is a true king. He is a god. The famous second-generation heir from Detroit, another expert in car modification, and the recently popular champion of the latest North American URC Rally Championship, Faust, also posted on Twitter. I don't want to say much. Up until now, all my efforts have been to catch up to Right Chen's footsteps. In my heart, he's stronger than my father 100 times. For the rest of my life, I will never forget his absolutely dominating performance on the Hong Kong racetrack. In addition to these two people, the King of the Rising Sun and the others, who were previously unconvinced of Chen Guang, also expressed their opinions. They could not bear the fact that their god was being questioned in other fields. Although racing and darts were completely different categories, the fact that the King of the Rising Sun and the others, who were quite popular, stood up and publicly supported him immediately changed Chen Guang's international image. In fact, the reason they said was very simple. The strong should be respected, and the strong should be arrogant. In the end, Wilkins and the others did not choose to withdraw from the race. The crushing defeat on the field had already made them lose face. If they could not afford to lose, they would only become more of a laughing stock. When Chen Guang was still sitting in the stands, he turned his head and chatted with people while throwing 3 darts. The darts landed on the 20s, 19s, and 12s respectively on the dartboard. The race finally ended. Without a doubt, he became the champion of the World Championship and the well-deserved king of the world darts industry. It could even be said that he had almost single-handedly destroyed the sport of darts. From now on, regardless of whether he would participate in the race or not, no one would be able to accept an ordinary competition where he stood more than 2 meters away and carefully threw one dart after another. It would seem stupid. Chen Guang did not have the mood to think so much. When he received the trophy, his other hand was holding the heavenly Holy Grail and drinking water. His mind had already sunk into the heavenly Holy Grail and was observing the changes in the production of faith points. More than 20 million people watched the live broadcast on TV, which made his popularity go out of the country overnight. Because of the trophy in his hand, the Dart God statue's production rate skyrocketed by 5,000, reaching its peak. In addition, the other major god statues also increased to varying degrees. The total daily production of faith points had reached 125,000. Mr. Chen, I sincerely apologize for my previous offense to you. Wilkins's forehead was overflowing with faith points as he approached Chen Guang with a bitter face and gritted teeth. Looking at Su Tao's expression, Chen Guang was instantly amused. This British gentleman has a complicated feeling in his heart. I'm not blind, and I naturally know that you're unhappy with me. But you're just sending me letters on your forehead. Forget it. I'll forgive you since you're only getting 3 points of faith a day. He patted Wilkins on the shoulder. It's all right. There's an old Chinese saying that goes, if you respect me, I will respect you tenfold. Let the unhappiness of the past sink into the English Channel. Faced with his generosity, Wilkins's faith points actually shot up again and became 6 points a day. Chapter 528. There was supposed to be a celebration party after the competition, but Chen Guang thought it was too troublesome. There was no use socializing with these people, so he rejected them without thinking and planned to run away. Although there were still 3 hours until his right hand's concert, Chen Guang intended to head over earlier and act as though he was paying attention to it. However, he was stopped by someone. It was his so-called assistant, Ms. Xian. What? Chen Guang looked at the little loli, who was wrapped up tightly in front of him. For some reason, there was a terrifying aura coming from her at that moment. Back then, Xian came to invite him to participate in the amateur darts tournament as a staff member of the Escort Association. Chen Guang and she, who had a unique skill, had a friendly exchange and finally reached a consensus to participate in the tournament. Now that the tournament was over, Chen Guang had won from the amateur darts tournament to the World Championship. The ending was satisfactory. Now Chen Guang felt that he had no value to Xian anymore, so it was time for her to disappear from his side. Although he rarely asked about her motive for staying by his side, or who her so-called master was, Chen Guang wasn't a fool. He didn't have to rack his brain to guess that Xian must be from an internal energy sect or family that's related to hidden weapons and darts. Well, it didn't matter whether it was a sect or a family. Chen Guang didn't know much about it. Anyway, people who could use inner force were very cool and had big and hard fists. The power behind her was also a very powerful one. As for why she insisted on participating in the competition, Master Guang said that it was because he was interested in the old man's popularity. So he wanted the old man to help her promote darts. Wrong. It was to be a spokesperson who didn't pay. Otherwise, why would such a capable and outstanding little loli follow him around all day, helping to shoot live broadcasts, help to make videos, help to organize the news on the internet, and even help to post on Weibo? She was a very considerate little assistant, and she didn't ask for a salary. Chen Guang didn't believe that there was such a good thing as a free lunch. Don't tell me it's because of love, I don't believe it. There will be a dinner party later. Brother Chen Guang, come with me. Xianqin cupped her hands and said while blinking her eyes. Chen Guang took a step back. Please be normal. You're giving me the creeps. Alright, there's a dinner party. Come with me. What? There's a company that wants you to be their spokesperson. I think they have good qualifications, so I accepted the job for you. Xianqin spread her hands. Endorsement my ass. I'm not interested. How can I waste my precious time on endless endorsements? Chen Guang protested. 5 million a year. All you need to do is shoot a few commercials. You don't need to do any activities. It's practically free. You don't want it? 10 million in total for a 2-year contract. Xianqin looked at him with a puzzled face. That's quite a lot. I don't think it's a lot. My Weibo account bonus and livestream income add up to 1 or 2 million. Chen Guang expressed his lack of interest. Xianqin silently crushed the pebble in her hand. The pebble turned into powder and slid down her fingertips. Let's go. Where's the place? We mustn't neglect our esteemed guest. Halfway through the journey, Chen Guang remembered to ask what company it was. It's a delivery company. I think it's called Dragon Gate Express. My friend recommended it. Chen Guang was puzzled. I've never heard of this company. Also, do you have friends? Xianqin snorted through her nose. That's right. You're so beautiful and lovely. You must have friends all over the world. That's more like it. I'm not very clear about the specific business of their company. You can ask them when you meet them. Xianqin said indifferently. Chen Guang rolled his eyes. A manager like you makes me a little drunk. On the other hand, Jin Zhang's concert would start at roughly 8 p.m. Chen Guang took a look at the place where they were eating. It was quite close to the workers' sports complex, and it was only 10-odd minutes away on foot. If he rushed over now to meet with Dragon Gate Express, he would be able to finish his meal quickly and make a detour to the workers' sports complex. If he didn't, it would be even more convenient. Actually, he was quite curious. Xianqin's friend, who knew internal force, introduced him to Dragon Gate Express. No matter how he thought about it, it seemed very wuxia. Right, starting from next month, the Escort Association will hold the National Darts League for primary and secondary school students every month. Xianqin seemed to have remembered something. Chen Guang curled his lips indifferently. That's great. But what does it have to do with me? Because you're the sponsor of the competition. Wait, when did I sponsor it? Just now. Huh. The endorsement fee for Dragon Gate Express. After all this time, I haven't even seen the money, and I've already spent it for you. Chen Guang didn't feel very good. Xianqin snorted, took out a tablet, and placed it in front of him. I've done some research. Currently, the endorsement fee of the top celebrities in the country is about the same as yours. But they have to cooperate with the manufacturers to do a lot of publicity every year. I finally understand. I was just wondering why Dragon Gate Express was so stupid with so much money. After all this time, I'm just a cover. I'm actually giving you money. Xianqin shook her head. No, you're not a cover. If you hold the competition in your name, the students will be more enthusiastic to sign up. There will also be the annual finals. The annual champion will get your autograph, and a few days of closed-door training. Little Xianqin's foxtail finally showed. That's right. She wanted to use Chen Guang's fame to promote darts in the country, to select talents for her declining Thousand Despair sect. Wait a minute. What's in it for me? I won't get any money, and I have to help you train people. I'm putting in the effort and money, but I don't get any benefits. I'm losing out. Chen Guang's face darkened. Big brother Chen Guang, help me. Please help me. Xianqin shook Chen Guang's arm. Her unique lowly voice echoed in the car. The driver in the front seat trembled and almost crashed into an electric pole on the side of the road. "Oh, my little sweetheart." Chen Guang felt as if he had been electrocuted. "You're acting like a spoiled child. The old man can't take it." "Forget it. Seeing that you are such a beautiful loli, it is not impossible to go up a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames." "Okay. Big brother, you're so good to me." Xianqin leaned on him and hugged his arm tightly. The driver in the front seat felt his hair stand on end. Chen Guang didn't feel anything wrong. He patted Xianqin's head and said, "Sigh. If only you were this obedient every day." He didn't know how his sister Lingshan was doing. She would have to go back to Southeast Province for the National College entrance examination next year. It was not easy to get into the top 5 universities in Southeast Province. He would ask her when he got back. If things were not going well, he would spend money to send her to various training classes. In fact, there were some things he didn't tell Xianqin. He knew that Xianqin needed his help to promote darts. Just like how billiards became popular in the country, she needed a top international player like Ding Junhui. A top athlete who could win glory for the country in an unpopular sport could effectively increase the influence of an unpopular sport in the country. Just like how Ding Junhui was to billiards, Zhang Jie, Yan Zi, and Li Na were to tennis. If Chen Guang participated in an F1 race and became a racing king like Schumacher, many young people in the country would also be interested in F1 racing. This was the effect of a star, and it was also the effect of patriotism. Obviously, Xianqin's plan was to make him a dart star first. Now that she had basically succeeded, the next step was to continue to ferment the influence of this dart star. Then, she would hold the National League tournament in his name. With the help of the star effect and the prize money, she would entice the youths who had nowhere else to put their attention on football and basketball. She would give them another choice and let more talents emerge through the darts league. At that time, Xianqin's Thousand Invincibles sect would get more talents. Although it seemed like Chen Guang didn't gain anything, he would actually gain fame. More and more people liked darts. They didn't know anything about it, but they were addicted to it. Then, as the world's king of darts, his faith value would certainly increase. In addition, his fame would also maintain a steady stream of popularity among primary and middle school students all over the country. It had always been proven that the greater the fame, the more faith he would gain. Chen Guang actually had a lot of benefits, but he couldn't tell them about his faith value. Suddenly Chen Guang said, "I have a great idea." Xianqin looked at him blankly. "Why?" "I want to set up a school." "A darts school?" Chen Guang shook his head. "Right, Chen International Stunt School." "Ah. I'll teach darts, racing, piano, tower, pencil sharpening, Kirin arm, and pile drivers. I'll teach everything that I can. But no one knows how to sharpen a pencil. Also, what are Kirin arm and pile drivers? Shouldn't they go to Lanxiang to learn excavators?" "That's right. We'll put the last 3 aside for now. But there will be people who can learn darts, racing, piano, and tower drivers." "That's right, Xianqin. You'll be the first head of the darts department of Right Chin International Stunt School, the monthly champion of the National Darts League for primary and middle school students, will be the first batch of darts students." However, this crazy idea only existed in his mind for 30 seconds. It wasn't that he couldn't teach others, but that the time was not ripe yet. Not many normal parents would let their children waste their precious time in his weird school to learn these skills that looked beautiful but couldn't be used to make a living. That would be stupid. It was impossible for Chen Guang to teach others to be as good as him. The previous racing training class had already taught him a painful lesson. About an hour later, the car drove straight into a garden-style clubhouse. As soon as Chen Guang and Xianqin got out of the car, they were welcomed by a group of middle-aged men. Both parties chatted as they ate, and it didn't take long before Chen Guang and Dragon Gate Express came to an agreement and signed the contract at lightning speed. The reason was simple. When Master Guang shook hands with this boss Long, He realized that this guy had inner force too. He was testing him. As expected, Xianqin's so-called friend wasn't an ordinary person either. The scope of business of Dragon Gate Express was also very strange. They almost didn't deal with ordinary people. They were only responsible for escorting some extremely valuable items. For example, the Patek Philippe in his hands might barely qualify for delivery. According to this boss, they could also send nuclear reactors. Chen Guang just thought that he was bragging after drinking too much. People in the pugilistic world were really straightforward. They ate and drank. It was supposed to be a social gathering, but in less than half an hour, everyone had eaten until their stomachs burst. Before they could close the stall, a few MPVs drove up from outside. That's right, it was the commercial shooting team hired by Dragon Gate Express. Dragon Gate Express. Everything will be delivered. 10 minutes later, the most crudely produced commercial in history was announced. Chen Guang only had a few seconds of camera time. He stood in front of the temporary green screen, dressed in an ancient costume, and shouted the advertising slogan to the camera. To be honest, if it wasn't for my good looks, would this commercial really be aired? Chen Guang was dumbfounded. The efficiency was so high that it made one's hair stand on end. It was completely different from his impression of a commercial endorsement. He felt that something was wrong. The commercial director waved his hand casually. "Brother, just believe in my ability. For this scene, I'll squeeze in the special effects in front and back, and make it look like a blockbuster. I'm indebted to Boss Long's trust. I won't let everyone down." Boss Long was also very satisfied with the director's honesty. Good. Do your best." Chen Guang patted the director's shoulder sympathetically. "I don't know how to say this, but I can only wish you good luck. If you screw it up, come to Wujing and find me to reshoot. I'm not particularly afraid of trouble." He could see that the director had the same thoughts as him. It was stupid to treat Dragon Gate Express as money, but you can't be compared to me. I'm the spokesperson that Xianqin pulled over. I have a background in backing. If I screw it up, I'm not afraid of Boss Long's revenge. You're fooling people like this, and you're fooling Boss Long who has inner strength. No matter how I look at you, it won't be long before the grass on your grave grows 3 feet high. But although he was panicking for him, Chen Guang could not say it out loud. The director's confidence was too loud. He could not even take down his stage on the spot. Forget it. Everyone has their own business. Let's go. The money came too quickly and too easily. It was like a dream. In less than 2 hours he had earned 10 million. Robbing a bank was not as comfortable as robbing a bank. It was like living in a dream. Take care, everyone. It's been a pleasure working with you. See you next time. Boss Long waved at Chen Guang and Xianqin's car, and said goodbye enthusiastically. Chen Guang did not react until he sent them off. Xianqin, who was beside him, was already happily flipping through the 10 million in her account. That's right. Boss Long transferred the money to Xianqin. The car could not send Chen Guang to the workers' sports complex. The concert was very popular. There were even rumors on the internet that Jin Shiyue's boyfriend would be there as well, which added to the popularity of the concert. It was so crowded that it was difficult to move even 2 blocks away. Chen Guang decided to get out of the car and run there himself. He asked Xianqin to get in the car and leave. Looking at her happy face, Chen Guang knew that her mind was already on the primary and secondary school league. He was free to go to the concert alone. After taking 2 steps, he shrunk his neck, covered his face, and hid in the crowd. That's right. He saw Lin Jingwei and Gao Ye's group walking leisurely in front of him. If it was only Lin Jingwei, he would have gone up to greet him. But Bai Hua was there too. This was too scary. Chapter 529. Taking out a hat, sunglasses, and mask from his sports bag, Chen Guang hid in the crowd while Lin Jingwei and the others slowly approached the workers' stadium. Gao Ye looked very excited and Lin Jingwei was also beaming with joy. Bai Hua, the third wheel, looked a little absent-minded. From time to time, he would ask Lin Jingwei something, while Lin Jingwei would chat with him helplessly. There were also some people around them, who seemed to be Lin Jingwei's high school classmates. They were already very familiar with Gao Ye, and were chatting happily. If he hadn't promised Jiang Yage, Chen Guang would have turned around and run away. Although there was a huge difference between him and Chen Yu. If Bai Hua saw any signs of it, he would definitely go all out and fight him. Sister Zhou, I'm already outside the stadium. How do I get in now? I don't have a ticket. After Lin Jingwei and the others got into the crowd, Chen Guang called Jin Jiang and Yu's manager, Sister Zhou. Why are you so late? Sister Zhou's tone was slightly reproachful. I wanted you to interact with Shiyue at the beginning of the competition, but you didn't come. They also didn't allow me to call you to rush you, so this segment was cut off. It's good that it's cut off. Chen Guang let out a long sigh of relief. Although he was already a famous person, interacting with people on the stage of the workers' stadium, which could accommodate tens of thousands of people, made him feel like he had to stammer. He wasn't right Chen anymore. Go to the back door of the stadium and wait there. I'll come out to pick you up. Shiyue and Grace are busy with makeup, so I'm afraid I'll have to neglect you today. Unlike other managers who treated the boyfriends of their female artists as scourges, Sister Zhou quickly recognized her position after she tried to interfere with Jiang Yage's decision and almost went too far. As the saying goes, being in the king's company is like being with a tiger. Jin Jiang and you were usually at ease, but that was only because they hadn't met anyone or anything that they cared about. It was obvious that they cared about their savior Chen Guang. Sister Zhou was very sensible. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Sister Zhou sneakily poked her head out from the back door. Here. Where will I be watching the concert later? Sister Zhou led Chen Guang inside and said, the VIP area. You can't see anything backstage. Oh. In fact, Chen Guang was looking forward to the backstage, but since he was not allowed to go, then forget it. I've already arranged a seat for you. It's the small bar counter in the first row of the VIP area. There should be some people there who know you. If someone comes up to greet you, make sure to pay attention to what they say. Don't cause trouble for Shiyue. Sister Zhou couldn't help but say before she left. Chen Guang didn't argue with her. They didn't even know who was causing trouble for whom. Just when he sneakily sat down at the bar counter, he suddenly heard two familiar voices talking. Jingwei, no matter what, you have to help me this time. You should understand Big Brother Bai Hua. I've never been the kind of person who is easily moved outside. In the past, I liked Shiyue because I watched her grow up and treated her like a younger sister. But now, I've really thought it through. My feelings for Shiyue isn't love, it's familial love. You're someone who has a girlfriend now, so you definitely understand the feeling of your heart thumping uncontrollably when you see someone. It's simply too wonderful, too unbelievable. Lin Jingwei said in a muffled voice. Brother Bai, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I've asked her. She really doesn't have that kind of feelings for you. A melon that's forcefully picked won't be sweet. How can you say that? We haven't even understood each other. So how would we know that we're not compatible? How can you be so arbitrary when it comes to relationships? I can't even eat well these days. Bai Hua was furious. Lin Jingwei looked at him quietly, thinking to himself, Brother Bai, you really don't need to understand this. It's just that your genders aren't compatible. That's just how arbitrary it is. Hey Lin Jingwei, can you help your brother Bai a little? He's so serious, and as a woman, I can understand how he feels. I feel that if Brother Bai really likes Chen Yu, even if she doesn't feel anything at the beginning, she can still slowly get to know him better and develop feelings for him. If it really doesn't work out, then we'll talk about it again. At least we won't have any regrets. Gao Ye also added fuel to the fire. However, Chen Guang, who was familiar with the inside story, definitely knew that Gao Ye's words weren't that simple. There was a lot of meaning behind them, and it was worth pondering over. Lin Jingwei silently turned his face to the side, hating a certain someone who left him in a mess, and then left. Oh right, Brother Guang said he wanted to come to the concert too. Where is he? Give him a call and ask. Wait, Brother Bai, didn't you say you wanted to see Chen Guang? I didn't dare let you two meet, because I was afraid you two would fight. Now that you don't have any feelings for Jin Shiyue, Do you still want to see him? He said he would come today. Sometimes, good brothers were used to betray each other and take the blame. Now that Lin Jingwei couldn't take it anymore, he decided to betray the culprit Chen Guang. Hearing this, Bai Hua really forgot to ask about Qin Yu, and his expression became serious. Really? I want to see him, not as Shiyu as suitor, but as her brother. I need to have a good chat with this fellow who cut the queue. Hey, don't fight, or else I won't make the appointment, Lin Jingwei said loudly. Bai Hua shook his head. Do I look like someone who likes to fight? That's true. Anyway, you can't beat him. I'll make the call now. Lin Jingwei said seriously. You're my little apple. Just when Lin Jingwei made the call, Chen Guang's phone, which was about to run away, rang. Damn it, I forgot to mute it. Chen Guang had already run out of the VIP area. But it was too late. Lin Jingwei pounced on him like a hungry tiger. Brother Guang, don't move. I'll know it's you even if you turn into ashes. Damn it, are you crazy? Aren't you just making trouble for me? Chen Guang hid the Patek Philippe in his pocket behind Bai Hua and the others. He fiercely turned his head and stared at Lin Jingwei. Because of a woman, we'll end up in a fight to the death. What's more, Jin Shiyue and I aren't that kind of thing. Aren't you harming others? Lin Jingwei put his arm around Chen Guang's shoulder. Don't quibble. You know the situation better than me. Brother Xiao Bai can't fight with you for Jin Shiyue anymore. But seriously, if you don't help me take a bullet, I really won't be able to hold on. Brother Xiao Bai's matter is small, but Gaoya's matter is big. I have to think of a way to change the topic. As a brother, you have to save me. Seeing that I've put in so much effort to help you, you really can't leave me in the lurch. In the end, Chen Guang was forcibly dragged by Lin Jingwei to their seats in the VIP area. For Jin Shiyue and Jiang Ye's concert, the price of the stage tickets was as high as 400 yuan, and the price of the inner stage tickets was more than 81,000 yuan. As for the VIP seats in the front row, the market price was clearly in the thousands to tens of thousands, and it was the kind that had a price but no supply. To be able to have a table in this position, one had to be rich or noble. When Chen Guang was sitting on the other side, some people noticed him and wanted to come up and say hello to him. But when he was dragged by Lin Jingwei to Bai Hua's direction, those people who were eager to make trouble quieted down. Lin Jingwei's identity was not prominent, but Bai Hua was quite famous in the circle of young masters in Beijing. Everyone knew that he did not like to be disturbed by unfamiliar people. Brother Bai, I've brought him to you. Have a good chat. You guys have a good chat. Lin Jingwei put his arm around Chen Guang and sat down. Just like that, he sold Chen Guang out. Gaoya, who was sitting on the side, gave Lin Jingwei a look and whispered in his ear. Won't you cause trouble for Chen Guang? He will be angry, right? Lin Jingwei shook his head. It's fine. With me here, there really won't be a fight. Bai Hua was still wearing his favorite white suit. He glanced at Chen Guang with a slightly restrained arrogance in his eyes. Although he was indeed unhappy with Chen Guang, for the sake of Lin Jingwei, he restrained himself. Chen Guang, this is the second time we've met, right? Chen Guang looked at this person. When this person spoke, this person seemed to have purposely raised his nostrils. Although his words were calm, his tone was also normal. But at the same time, he gave off a feeling of superiority. This guy is pressuring me, Chen Guang thought. If it had been a week or two ago, he would have flipped the table and gotten into a fight if he was treated with this kind of tone and manner. But now, after 100 years of experience in the sea of time, even if he had lived for 100 years as a game, Chen Guang had met many times more people than Bai Hua. Young man, in front of the old man, you're still a small fry. I've been giving in to you before, but don't expect me to get serious. Really, when I get serious, I'm so smart that even I'm afraid of myself. Slamming the table would obviously lower his status, so he smiled and said, I didn't expect Brother Bai to still remember me. When I was in dire straits, I was indebted to Brother Bai for helping me get through it. I'm very grateful. Bai Hua shook his head slightly. Don't thank me. I didn't do it to help you. It's all because of Jingwei. If you want to thank him, then it's fine. Chen Guang laughed. I've already thanked him many times. That's good. Bai Hua's attitude suddenly changed. He slammed the glass of wine in his hand onto the table with a loud bang. Lin Jingwei and Gaoya, who had been paying attention to the two, felt their eyelids twitch. The show was about to start. At this moment, music suddenly rang out in the huge workers' stadium. Many youthful dancers ran out from behind the slowly rising curtains, and Jin Shiyue's unique crisp and sweet voice descended from the sky. Jin Shiyue was wearing a long white dress and stepping on a suspended ladder covered in white feathers. Countless artificial snowflakes fell from the sky. At this moment, Jin Shiyue was breathtakingly beautiful. Everyone stopped talking and turned to look at Jin Shiyue in the sky. Gaoya cupped her hands and murmured, "She's so beautiful. As a woman, I'm so envious." Lin Jingwei gently hugged her. "It's okay. When we get married, I'll make you look even prettier than her." Bai Hua coughed lightly and gestured for Chen Guang to focus his attention back on him. "See, Shiyue is such a perfect girl. How can you be worthy of her?" Chen Guang laughed. "It's not up to you to say whether I'm worthy or not. I really don't understand why Shiyue would like you. I admit that you have good qualities. Otherwise, Jingwei wouldn't have become friends with you. But from my point of view, you're just an internet celebrity who became famous through hype. Putting aside your family background, you're not even on the same level as her. Do you know how much effort she has put in for her music and movies? I've seen her practice dancing until she cramps. I've also seen her only sleep for 3 hours a day, for 7 consecutive days, just to memorize her lines. You're ruining her hard work by barging into her life. She's only 20 years old. For a female artist to be in a relationship at the age of 20, it's a huge sacrifice and pressure. Do you understand? You'll ruin her career." Bai Hua's tone gradually turned cold. Actually, Chen Guang understood what Bai Hua was saying. But now that things had turned out this way, it was out of his control. He wanted to tell Bai Hua that everyone was kept in the dark. "Jin Shiyue and I are innocent, okay?" Lin Jingwei and Gaoya smiled bitterly. If Chen Guang and Jin Shiyue's relationship was real, then perhaps Bai Hua wasn't wrong. But that wasn't the case at all. Both of them were guessing how Chen Guang would answer. Was he going to tell Bai Hua the truth? Or was he going to just accept the whole thing? Chen Guang suddenly laughed. "How do you know that I'll be a burden to her?" Bai Hua snorted through his nose. "Shameless boasting. You don't understand Shiyue's talent at all. Many people think that she and Grace relied on their background to get to where they are today. But if it weren't for their extraordinary efforts and amazing talent, do you think money and power alone could make them the beloved left and right hands of everyone? What a joke! If it wasn't for the fact that every time he saw Bai Hua's face, he would be reminded of Bai Hua's blushing face yesterday. Chen Guang would have punched him in the face already. This grandson's words are so King unpleasant. In fact, whether Jin Shiyue liked him or not, Chen Guang didn't know. After all, it was Jiang Yage who seduced him. Jin Shiyue was just a cover. However, Chen Guang was 100% sure that big brother Bai Hua liked him. "What? Are you speechless? Forget it. Although I really don't understand what Shiyue likes about you, this is her choice. As her brother, I can only support her. But I'm warning you, if you dare to betray Shiyue, I, Bai Hua, will make you suffer." In short, Chen Guang, the current you can't bring any substantial help to Shiyue's career. I hope you can act like a real man and take responsibility. Don't be a burden to Shiyue and be someone useful to her. That's all I have to say. You're on your own now. Bai Hua seemed to have said enough. He slammed the table and didn't say anything else. Instead, he turned to look at the stage. Lin Jingwei hurriedly came over. "Brother Bai Hua, don't be like this. I know Brother Guang very well. He's not that kind of person." As he spoke, Lin Jingwei desperately pinched Chen Guang's thigh, his eyes darting around. Gaoya, who was next to him, also blinked, indicating to Chen Guang not to flip out. Both of them were unhappy with Bai Hua. They were friends of friends. "Aren't you making things difficult for us?" Chen Guang glared at Lin Jingwei, as if he was going to eat him alive. The two brothers understood each other. "If it weren't for you, I would have made this bastard bleed." Lin Jingwei secretly patted Chen Guang's shoulder. "It's been hard on you." When we get back to school, I'll give you 3 months' worth of water as an apology. Chapter 530. Right at this moment, Bai Hua turned around and saw Lin Jingwei holding on to Chen Guang. He suddenly smiled and said, "I'm sorry about that. My attitude was a little vile earlier, so please forgive me if I offended you. Please understand that I'm a brother's concern for his sister. When I was young, the children in the courtyard often beat me up for bullying Shiyue. Jingwei also knows this." Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei were speechless as they looked at Bai Hua. "Are you crazy? You want to beat us up and give us candy? You're really bored." Chen Guang smiled insincerely and humphed, "I thank you for your concern on behalf of my girlfriend. But in the future, I'll take care of her matters." "Haha, don't be like this." Bai Hua shrugged indifferently. Bai Hua, am not someone who goes back on his words. Once a word is said, it's impossible to go back on it. Besides, Jingwei also knows what I'm really thinking right now, right? Jingwei, you know who I want to find the most right now, right? Lin Jingwei and Chen Guang silently drew a small circle in their hearts. "We know, but we don't want to know. This matter is hard to say, but it's absolutely true." Chen Guang came over to talk nonsense with Bai Hua, but in the end, he didn't manage to save Lin Jingwei. After this traitor acted cool, he began to pull Lin Jingwei again. He either beat around the bush or directly asked about Chen Yu. Obviously, he had already eaten a heavy weight. If Lin Jingwei didn't hand over the person, he wouldn't be able to live in peace for the rest of his life. Lin Jingwei was miserable, and Chen Guang felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. Gaoya sat between Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei. As a woman, she was very observant and felt that there was something wrong with Chen Guang. Wasn't he interrogating Lin Jingwei's Chen Yu matter with brother Xiaobai? Why did you, Chen Guang, look even more nervous than Lin Jingwei? You don't even know where to put your hands. Hey, Chen Guang, do you really have something going on with Jin Shiyue? What are you so nervous about? Gaoya, the carefree woman, didn't hide anything. She pulled Chen Guang's ear and started to whisper to him. Chen Guang moved to the side. "Stay away from me. Aren't you afraid that little Linny will get jealous?" "Why would he be jealous? Besides, he might be jealous of others. But why would he be jealous of you?" "You're right." "Sigh. Why did I change the topic? You're not right. Something must be wrong. I don't care. If you really dare to act with Jin Shiyue, I won't let you off." Rolling his eyes, Chen Guang replied, "I want to, but will she take a liking to me?" "Maybe not. Lin Jingwei told me last night that you're poisonous, and even asked me to stay away from you. Then why did you say that he can't be jealous of me?" "This isn't jealousy. This is called guarding against thieves." "Pfft, you're the thief. Your whole family is a thief." Fortunately, the performance of the concert itself was very wonderful. Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage prepared 5 new songs, all of which were the kind of fine works that could be used to hit the charts. Coupled with gorgeous dance and shocking sound effects, the atmosphere of the concert was pushed to the peak again and again. Even Chen Guang, the fake boyfriend and real fan, was very engrossed in the performance. Time flew by. About an hour later, the concert was halfway through. Next, it was time for the 3 special guests. Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage had a rare 10-minute break. Before the 2 of them left the stage, Sister Zhou quietly ran over to look for Chen Guang. It was Jiang Yage's order to call Chen Guang backstage. She didn't expect Chen Guang to be sitting with Bai Hua. She felt a little awkward. Boss Bai, what a coincidence. Sister Zhou had been Bai Hua's manager for 10 years. She knew that Bai Hua and Jin Shiyue were close. She even knew that Bai Hua had publicly and secretly expressed his love for Jin Shiyue in some small circle. But now they only called Chen Guang over. This was very embarrassing. "Sister Zhou, what's the matter?" Bai Hua first looked at Chen Guang, then at Sister Zhou. Sister Zhou said with a bitter face, "Well, Shiyue asked Mr. Chen to go backstage." She wailed in her heart. "Why is my life so bitter? I'm so troubled." On the other hand, Chen Guang stood up. He no longer wanted to sit beside Bai Hua. He wasn't afraid of Bai Hua's posturing, but he was afraid of the name Chen Yu coming out of Bai Hua's mouth. Just hearing it once would make him feel uncomfortable, and hearing it too many times would make his heart, liver, spleen, stomach, and kidney ache. Then brother Bai Shaolin Xiaoya, I'm going over. Chen Guang walked backstage. Gaoya spat. What Xiaoya? Don't give me random nicknames. Sister Zhou was still standing there, looking at Bai Hua. She wanted to leave, but didn't dare to. Chen Guang and Lin Jingwei were speechless. Big sis, if you know that Bai Hua is feeling uncomfortable, don't just stand there and stab him. Go, it's fine. Chen Guang is sure you as boyfriend, and it's not good for others to misunderstand you like this. Bai Hua gritted his teeth, but he still managed to suppress his temper and waved Sister Zhou away. After Sister Zhou left with Chen Guang, Lin Jingwei let out a long sigh. Sigh. I have to deal with Chen Yu all by myself again. Gaoya also sighed. Sigh, Chen Guang, please don't make it real. Bai Hua's sigh infected the two of them. Sigh, luckily I found my true love. Otherwise, Zhou Yun's lungs would explode. Jingwei, I've never asked you for anything. Lin Jingwei silently wiped away his tears. Brother Guang, hurry up and come back to save me. This is King Endless. I can't take it anymore. Chen Guang's appearance caused a small commotion in the crowded backstage. However, everyone was busy, so they only gave him a meaningful smile. No one tried to get close to him. Some were jealous, some were envious, some had hidden anger in their smiles, and some had fake blessings in their smiles. Chen Guang just smiled calmly. I know you guys are very concerned about my relationship with Jin Shiriyue, but I'm too lazy to explain it to you guys. I'm not familiar with you guys. After passing through the long passageway and passing by one studio after another, Chen Guang felt something was wrong when he opened a curtain and entered the backstage world. There were both men and women among the staff members who were busy working outside, but it was like two different worlds separated by a curtain. Did I travel through time and enter woman land? As far as the eye could see, all he could see were fair thighs, slender and beautiful. Or there were arms that were waving in all directions. It was a beautiful sight to behold. In the huge changing hall, dozens of young and beautiful girls wearing only bikinis, and even the most protective chest patches were either nervously changing clothes or sitting in front of the mirror to touch up their makeup. Some of them were even stretching their ligaments in a very shameful manner. Chen Guang felt that he was too busy to take advantage of them. Holy land! This was a man's paradise. These were all female dancers. In just 5 seconds, Chen Guang had taken advantage of all of them by relying on his shocking reaction and memory. After that, he turned around and walked out of the curtain. Sister Zhou, don't harm me. This is the changing room. First take advantage of others, then protect his image. This was the core survival method of a young man in the new era. Sister Zhou hurriedly followed. Unsure if it was intentional or not, she had an apologetic expression. Sorry. I was too busy and forgot. Then, how am I going to go over now? Let them wear their clothes. Chen Guang put on a straight face. No need. A portion of the dancers will have to change their clothes and go on stage. Those who can't wear it, just face the wall and go over. All right, I will listen to you. This Sister Zhou is a liar. Looking at the row of large mirrors on the wall, wouldn't he be able to see everything by facing the wall? Chen Guang felt that he must have been scammed. Isn't this Sister Shiriyue's boyfriend, Brother Quan? He really came? I thought the internet was lying. He is more handsome in person than on TV. He seems to be very shy. So cute. The girls behind him chattered incessantly. From time to time, laughter could be heard. It was like the dog's tail grass tickling his earlobes. It made Chen Guang's whole body go numb. His mind was floating, and he almost forgot who he was, where he came from, and why he was here. In the past, he didn't believe that the girls in the entertainment industry were as bold and unrestrained as the rumors said. But today he almost believed it. He must try to get the contact information of a few good sisters. In fact, there were some girls who felt dissatisfied and used their clothes to cover their bodies. But people will always be infected by the environment. Among the dozens of girls, at least half of them didn't take it seriously. Of course, none of them were completely naked. They just treated it as if they were wearing swimsuits in the pool. It wasn't really that embarrassing, so they simply didn't care. Besides, he is Jin Shiryue's boyfriend. Would he look up to vulgar girls like us? Didn't he see others awkwardly facing the wall and moving towards Jin Shiryue and Jiang Ye's resting room like crabs? What a pure and innocent little boy. So people were fundamentally different. Chen Guang's mind was filled with lasciviousness, but others felt that he was very innocent, so they didn't have their guard up. If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame Chen Guang's heart for being too impure and too restless. Sister Shiryue, look at his silly look. It's so cute. Look at his pants. Let's see how he's going to hide later. Jiang Ye put her eyes on the crack of the door and turned to laugh at Jin Shiryue behind her. Jin Shiryue smacked her butt. That's enough. Why do you have to prank others? Don't you feel embarrassed? Jiang Ye laughed. No, don't you think it's very interesting? How is it interesting? Hurry up and put on your clothes. He's coming over. Actually, it really wasn't Sister Zhou who wanted to trick Chen Guang. This matter was basically Jiang Ye's bad idea. With great difficulty, they finally moved into Jin Shiryue and Jiang Ye's resting room. The two girls were already sitting in front of the dressing table to touch up their makeup, as if nothing had happened. Outside, many girls who were not so busy gathered together and muttered. Of course, the topic revolved around Chen Guang, their goddess boyfriend. Perhaps it was because their goddess boyfriend had a natural beauty halo. Everyone unanimously agreed that Chen Guang was a handsome guy. I really envy Sister Shiryue. Brother Chen Guang is really talented. I've been following his Weibo for a long time. At that time he always wore a mask. We didn't know who he was. A little girl is in heat. If you have the guts, go and snatch him. If you win against Sister Shiryue, all of us sisters will support you. Seeing how you guys are talking so warmly, I keep feeling that something is wrong. Brother Allrounder is very handsome, but being handsome can't be used to make a living. Now that the matter has just come out, it's still okay. It doesn't seem to have much impact. But I keep feeling that as time goes on, Sister Shiryue's acting career will be affected sooner or later. No matter what he has achieved in other fields, it's useless. In our line of work, it seems like he only played a small role once. Didn't you guys say that he will be acting in Big Beard Ding's new film soon? Don't talk about this. Just mentioning this matter makes me sweat for him. When he was filming The Country, I also played a small role at the scene. On a hot day, many people wore thick armor and followed him for a few hours, but still couldn't shoot a set of 30 seconds of scenes. It made everyone angry, but later on, I don't know why, but he suddenly had an epiphany. In any case, he managed to get one by a fluke. I'm not from an acting school, but I saw his acting at that time. It's at the level of destroying heaven and earth. Assistant Yang was so angry that he almost cried. What do you mean by destroying heaven and earth? It's a big scene with a few hundred people. As long as he shows his face, he can destroy the entire scene. It's that exaggerated. It's that exaggerated. Then I don't think that the two of them will be a good couple. I heard that he is only a university student. You guys say that he is not in the industry, and his position seems to be quite vague. In the eyes of 1,000 people, there are 1,000 Hamlets. Everyone will have different views on the same matter. Chen Guang couldn't care less about the rumors outside. He was smiling and greeting the people in the resting room. You're here? I still have 2 minutes here. Take a seat first. Jin Shiryue smiled very sweetly. At this time, there were 2 makeup artists in the resting room. In front of outsiders, she was Chen Guang's girlfriend. Chen Guang wasn't in a hurry. He sat down with his legs crossed. It's fine. You guys go ahead. As he spoke, he quietly took out a Patek Philippe from his pocket and put it on. One lie had to be followed by countless lies. Chen Guang used his bloody lesson to teach everyone that they had to be honest, or they would tire themselves to death. On the other side, Jiang Ye suddenly burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Jin Shiryue was drawing someone's eyebrows and asked without turning her head. Jiang Ye only laughed. She was too embarrassed to say that she saw Chen Guang in the mirror. She quietly put her hand into her trouser pocket and moved one of the tent poles askew, so that it wouldn't be so conspicuous. After waiting for a few minutes, the the two of them finished their makeup. The guest singer outside was only halfway through singing, and there were still a few minutes to rest. Jin Shuryue took Jiang Ye's hand and walked up together. Did you like the song we sang today? Jin Shuryue's eyes curved into crescent moons as she put on a sweet act. Chen Guang nodded. I like it. It was very nice and the stage effect was great. I was very fascinated. Jiang Ye looked at the two of them, who were treating each other with respect. She felt that something was wrong. Why did it look like a meeting between the leaders of the United Nations? This wasn't how a normal couple should interact. It was very suspicious, okay? It was fine if it was just the three of them in the room, but there were two makeup artists beside them. Chapter 531. Alright, that's enough. You guys are still in the middle of a concert. Don't talk about these things. Chen Guang didn't want to care about Jiang Ye's jeering even if he was beaten to death. He felt so awkward. He didn't expect that Jiang Ye wouldn't let him off so easily. Instead, she desperately winked at him, hinting that there were two makeup artists watching them from behind. Brother-in-law, you can't say it like that. Sister Shuryue and I have been preparing for this concert for more than half a month. Everything that should be prepared has been prepared perfectly. Now, the most important thing in the few minutes of intermission is to adjust her mood and state. As Sister Shuryue's boyfriend, if you don't give her an encouraging kiss, then what if Sister Shuryue's heart is down and her mood is affected when she goes on stage later? Isn't that your fault? Jin Shuryue blushed and pinched Jiang Ye's waist again and again, asking her to restrain herself. Chen Guang rolled his eyes madly. Are you really not done? Do you really think I don't dare to? I'm not at a disadvantage. Don't force me. Chen Guang was so annoyed by Jiang Ye that his heart was burning with evil fire. Alright, you're the one who forced me to pretend to be real. Anyway, I've been a scapegoat on the internet for a long time. If I don't really take advantage of you, I'm not worthy of my reputation as a cheap boyfriend. Alright, I'll kiss you then. I'm a man, why would I be shy? As he said that, he turned around and gently hugged Jin Shuryue, who was next to him. Jin Shuryue's whole body trembled, and her body stiffened as if she was enchanted. Her face was also a little frightened. Although she and Chen Guang were so high profile on the internet, it was all for others to see. She didn't think that there would be a day when she would really be hugged by Chen Guang. Her breathing gradually quickened, and a touch of redness slowly surged under her beautiful makeup. But Jin Shuryue didn't completely indulge in it. Instead, she secretly glanced at Jiang Ye's expression next to her. She saw that Jiang Ye stood aside with her hands clasped over her heart. A pair of beautiful big eyes stared at the air between Chen Guang and Jin Shuryue. Her eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. Jin Shuryue silently pinched Jiang Ye's hand. Who asked you to make a fuss? Now that he really wants to kiss me, you're here to complain and envy. Isn't this your doing? Jiang Ye was also a little dumbfounded watching from the side. She didn't expect that Chen Guang would really want to kiss Jin Shuryue. She just wanted to change the atmosphere a little, so that the two people wouldn't make it seem like a meeting between the leaders of the country. Otherwise, the two makeup artists would notice something was wrong and go out to gossip. A lot of gossip in the entertainment industry was secretly exposed by these small staff, who stayed by the artist's side. It wasn't easy for a youth idol to make their relationship public. But once it was made public, if people suspected that they were acting, the impact would be even worse. At this time, Chen Guang didn't think so much in his mind. He just looked at Jin Shuryue's evasive eyes and her blushing face, which was really like a beautiful picture. He had seen Jin Shuryue's beautiful face countless times on TV or on the internet. It wasn't that there weren't people who were as close to each other as they were now when they were together. But now was different from the past. Chen Guang's state of mind was completely different from the past. In the past, no matter how close they were, he didn't think of kissing her. But at this moment, looking at the cherry-red lips so close, and the way she gradually closed her misty eyes, allowing him to do whatever he wanted, Jin Shuryue's beauty was further magnified. Like a storm sweeping through his heart, like a spring rain teasing his heart, just like a demon walking in the human world, Jin Shiyue's face slowly devoured Chen Guang's reserved and rational mind. He secretly took a deep breath, slightly widened his eyes, and slowly lowered his head, aiming at Jin Shiyue's lips. They kissed. Their four lips crossed the barrier of identity and the interference of the third wheel, Jiang Yage, and stuck together fiercely. Jin Shiyue's breathing and heartbeat seemed to have stopped at that moment. She felt as if her soul was being sucked away from her lips. Jiang Yage's body tightened into a ball, regretting so much that her intestines turned green. I'm trapped in a cocoon of my own making. I really wish that the person who was kissed by him was me. I'm so stupid. So regretful. Sister Shiyue, what are you doing? Staring blankly, Jiang Yage actually saw a red cloud sweeping up from below Jin Shiyue's neck, causing her whole body to be suffused with a red light. What was even more excessive was that she unconsciously let out a murmur from her nose. Her hands actually hugged Chen Guang's back from behind, caressing his back randomly. That's enough. The two of you are enough. Acting to this extent was already more than enough. Chen Guang was much more clear-headed than Jin Shiyue. He only thought, her lips are really soft, just like the cotton candy he ate when he was young, soft and moist. This is the goddess's lips that thousands of fans in the country dream of. And now I'm kissing it tightly. Forget it, although things turned out to be a little strange. And I feel a little sorry for her. But the feeling is really good, very comfortable. Unexpectedly, he felt a slight scratching pain on his back. Jin Shiyue, who was hugging him, was using even more strength, and her body was fiercely pressing against him. Her tall and plump breasts carried the youthful aura of a 20-year-old girl, extremely oppressive. Even through the 3 layers of clothes between the two of them, the feeling was still so clear. What's this situation? Big sister, aren't we acting? That's enough. It's already in place. At this moment, a soft and moist lilac tongue suddenly burrowed out from between Jin Shiyue's lips, actually pried open his lips and probed into his mouth. This was King terrible. Cough cough cough. Cough 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 cough. At this moment, Jiang Yage coughed violently. She had been holding it in for a long time. She couldn't hold it in anymore. Jin Shiyue suddenly woke up, the misty look in her eyes receding like the tide. She realized that she might have gone too far, quickly covered her face, pushed Chen Guang away, and shrunk to the side. Sorry, I lost control a little. I've never filmed a kissing scene. I don't have much experience. No one knew who she was apologizing to. Perhaps only Jiang Yage, and Chen Guang understood a little. The makeup artists on the side were very excited and applauded. One more. No, it's a concert. Chen Guang took advantage of others, subconsciously felt guilty, and continuously waved his hand. Jiang Yage pouted, took out a beautiful box from her bag, and stuffed it into Chen Guang's hand. Here, we asked Master Jamie Laurent to make this watch strap in Australia. Remember to wear it when you go back. She didn't want to admit it, but she was really jealous. She just wanted to do something to adjust Chen Guang's emotions after the kiss as soon as possible. Chen Guang took the watch strap, blushing, and chuckled. I'll change it now. At this moment, there was a sudden loud noise. It sounded very frightening. Everyone was shocked. Something happened. Chapter 532. Sister Zhou, what's wrong? Disregarding the fact that there were still many dancers changing outside, Jin Shiyue, who had just recovered from her shyness, abruptly opened the door of the break room and walked out. Perhaps she was trying to escape from something. Jiang Yage's brows were tightly furrowed. They had prepared for this concert for a long time and attached great importance to it. She didn't want any accidents to happen at this time. Chen Guang didn't think too much about it and hurriedly ran out. The crowd didn't understand the situation until they reached the outermost hall backstage. Zhou Yun's face was so gloomy that it could drip water. Something happened. Just now, after the last group of guests finished their performance, our 2 pianists tripped and fell down the aisle. It seems like Lin tripped first and fell down the stairs with Qi Jinyue. What? Did they fall badly? As soon as Jin Shiyue asked this, she felt that it was unnecessary. The commotion was so loud that the entire backstage could hear it. The two of them must have been seriously injured. Jin Shiryu said, "Let's hurry up and take a look. Don't hurt them." The crowd walked forward like the stars surrounding the moon. As soon as they reached the staircase, Chen Guang felt that there was no need to ask any more questions. These two old fellows must have had 8 lifetimes of bad luck. They rolled from the top of the stairs to the bottom of the staircase, and then rolled into a ball against the wall. Not only were their heads broken and bleeding, but they were also curled up in a corner with one hand covering the other in pain. The medical staff gave the two a simple examination, then shook their heads and stood up. They can't perform on stage. Mr. He and Mr. Chi both have a certain degree of joint sprain. As for whether there are any fractures, we'll have to check further. Zhou Yun's face was livid. But the concert is only halfway through. There are at least 7 more songs that need piano accompaniment. What should we do? Do we have a backup pianist? Zhou Yun asked as she pulled over the person in charge of the concert organization. The man was so scared that his face was pale. I didn't expect this to happen. He Lin and Qi Jinyue are the best pianists our company can find. There are other pianists near the company, but the traffic is very bad. I'm afraid they won't make it in time. Then what should we do? Are we going to change the sound system and give up on the live accompaniment? Zhou Yun turned her head and asked Jin Shiryu. However, Jin Shiryu shook her head. No, 3 of the remaining 7 songs are new. Although the other 4 are old songs, they have been rearranged. We just made adjustments to 2 of them yesterday. We didn't prepare a sound source for the studio's sound quality. Besides, if we change the sound source at the last minute, all the other accompaniment will have to be abandoned, and the effect of the whole concert will be messed up. Can't you ask backstage if any of the performers know how to play the piano? Let's just find 2 people to replace them, Chen Guang suggested. Jiang Yage shook her head fiercely. That won't do. This is a live performance. We have to ensure the effect. We can't just let anyone take over. Although our songs aren't very difficult, we haven't practiced them before. How can we let others take over directly? Then what should we do now? The group was in a dilemma. However, He Lin and Qi Jinyue's injuries weren't light, so they couldn't be delayed. The entertainment company arranged for them to be sent to the hospital. The 2 musicians wanted to bite the bullet, but when everyone saw that their wrists were swollen like thighs, no one dared to let them do it. The last song of the special guests was rock and roll. The prelude had already started, and the next song would be the piano accompaniment. Time was running out. What happened? Just as everyone was having a headache, the well-informed Bai Hua rushed over with Lin Jingwei and the others. Brother Bai Hua, why are you here? When Jin Shiryu saw Bai Hua, she was a little shocked. However, she maintained her composure and held on to Chen Guang's hand. Bai Hua's eyelids twitched, and his heart bled. Shiryu, don't be like this. I wish you happiness. I've also found my true love. Don't be so guarded against me. With a bitter face, Zhou Yun explained the sudden situation to Bai Hua. No matter how young Bai Hua was, it was obvious that he couldn't magically summon a pianist who could take the blame. Chen Guang looked at Jin Shiryu and Jiang Yage's anxious and angry faces, and his heart ached for them. It's over, it's all over. Chen Guang put his hand on Lin Jingwei's shoulder and said in an extremely anxious tone. Lin Jingwei turned his head and looked at Chen Guang for a long time. Brother Guang, are you stupid? If I remember correctly, didn't you give a piano concert before? Didn't you play the world's 10 most difficult songs, as if you were playing a game? Although you were wearing a mask at that time, I knew it was you. That's true. That's right. I can do it. Little Lin, you're so smart. It's not that I'm smart, it's that you're too stupid. Alright, watch me. Chen Guang waved his hand and pushed Lin Jingwei away. He stood in the middle of the crowd and raised his hands. Everyone, don't panic. I'll do it. What? Everyone turned to look at him in unison, and the atmosphere in the room suddenly froze. It was quiet for more than 10 seconds, and then everyone turned their heads back as if nothing had happened. Why don't we try to find someone in the audience who knows how to play? No, that's impossible. Let's change the song at the last minute, and change it to sound accompaniment. The effect is just a little bit worse. We can add a conversation and interaction segment. If we cut one song, the fans shouldn't have too much of an opinion. We can let Mr. Chen interact with Shiryu on the stage, talk about love, and talk about his future plans. That's not a good idea. Chen Guang stared at these guys. None of them took him seriously. He was so angry that his face turned green and white. The old man's piano god statue is right in front of me. How dare you ignore me? How dare you ignore the piano god? Ignore the greatest pianist in history? He slammed the table again. Hey, I'm serious. At this moment, Jiang Yage suddenly remembered. Hey, right, isn't brother-in-law very good at playing the piano? It's difficult to find someone else at the last minute. But brother-in-law should be able to do it, right? We're really in the dark. Zhou Yin was put in a difficult position. Yage, don't joke around. Mr. Chen only knows a little. No, he doesn't know a little. Sis Zhou, you haven't seen him live or followed his videos. Let me put it to you this way. Brother-in-law is a master in the piano. A real master. Perhaps even better than those who have won international awards. It's just that he has never participated in any international competitions before, and doesn't have any awards in the piano field. Jiang Yage argued for Chen Guang. Jin Shiryu also nodded, and walked over to hold Chen Guang's hand. Yage is not talking nonsense. Darling has held a live concert before. Although it was only broadcast on a local station, it had a great impact on the international music industry. Can he really do it? Zhou Yin wavered. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.